Case 3143, Child versus Hudson. All parties, please come forward.
Taylor Child is suing her former friend, Crystal Huddleston, for the cost of a motorcycle and riding boots.
I know very little about motorcycles. I know that the couple of times I've been on them, I didn't like it. Just seems to me that when you're surrounded with 3,000-pound cars, you want more around you than fresh air. So maybe I'll get somewhat of an education doing this case. I doubt it.
Taylor Child is accusing her former friend, Crystal Huddleston, of owing for the cost of a motorcycle after crashing it into a tree. Crystal is countersuing Taylor for medical bills.
Miss Child, you like motorcycles.
Correct.
And you've been riding them a long time.
Yes.
And you purchased a motorcycle from someone, used, and you paid $3,500 for it.
Yes.
Who's Scott?
Right here, ma'am.
That would be him. You and Scott work on the motorcycles together.
Yes.
And you brought the motorcycle back to your place, and you did some work on the chain and a lube job and who knows what else. But then when you tested it out, Scott thought, according to you, it needed a little more work, and he was going to take it back to his house to do a little more work on it. So far, correct?
Correct.
So Scott took this motorcycle back to his house. Now, this young lady doesn't ride motorcycles, but she rides as a passenger on motorcycles. But she wanted to learn about it, and she, too, was a friend of Scott's.
Correct.
So she was at Scott's house while he was futzing around with this motorcycle, and she decided she wanted to ride it and wanted Scott to help her learn to ride a motorcycle. Is not an answer. Is that correct?
No.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
The morning of September 29th, Taylor had my riding equipment in her car, and she and I had an agreement that I was going to learn with Scott on the bike. The night previous, we had a group chat.
And at some point, you had to have asked her if you could ride the bike. You know, certain things are common sense, certain things aren't common sense. Don't think about your ultimate counterclaim here, because that's not going to be good for you anyway, in all probability. You understand that?
Yes.
Yes, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. But at some point, you asked her if you could ride her bike.
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, you knew the bike was at Scott's house.
Yes.
And when Scott gave you the bike to ride, you rode it alone.
Yes.
Had you ever ridden a bike alone before?
Yes.
How many times?
5.
Whose bike?
Ryan's bike.
And Ryan is your?
Boyfriend.
Okay. When Ryan let you ride his bike 5 times, were you good at it?
I would like to think so.
Well, then what did you want to ride her used bike for? And learn how to ride?
I wanted to get more practice before I bought my own bike.
Okay, so you wanted to get more practice. Why didn't you ask your boyfriend if you could ride his bike?
Ryan and I were in a fight that morning.
So you mean instantly you had a fight with him in the morning, and then you were going to pursue your dream of motorcycle riding that day? Am I understanding you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So this is what happened. So you got on the bike and you wrecked it.
Yes.
And she's suing for the wrecked bike.
Correct.
And you're counterclaiming because you said, I didn't know that it didn't have a lube job, and I was terribly injured, which you were, hospitalized, right?
Yes.
Because that's what happens when you ride something with just the air around you. You weren't in an accident with another bike or a car. You wrapped the bike around a tree.
Yes.
And of course, that had to be somebody else's fault, not the fault of the rider who was learning how to ride, but it had to be somebody else's fault who let you use the bike to learn how to ride.
No, I take full responsibility for crashing this bike.
You take full responsibility. So why don't you pay her for the bike instead of countersuing her for $10,000?
The bike was unregistered, uninsured, and Taylor and I have an agreement, or had an agreement, that I would pay her in full by March 29th.
Pay her in full for what?
For the bike.
And?
And the boots that she gave me.
So you had an agreement with her after this incident. By the way, what was the date of the incident?
September 29th.
Okay, so you had an agreement after you destroyed the bike and after you recovered from your injuries, you had an agreement with her that you were going to pay her for the bike by March 29th.
Yes.
Why didn't you pay her?
I have been paying the medical bills off.
Okay, well, that's fair. So in anticipation of your not paying her back, she's suing you now, and you decided to counterclaim.
Yes.
Oh, that makes my life so much easier. Good. Did she agree to pay you back for the bike?
Yes.
She's telling you this in legalese, we call this an anticipatory breach. She's telling you now on March 19th that she's not going to pay you on March 29th. So 10 days from now, she's not going to pay you because she's been paying off the medical bills. That's why we're here.
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
What happened is Taylor blatantly lied and said that I could ride her bike, and that's it. It's cut and clean. I crashed. I take responsibility for it, and that's it.
I didn't get full permission. It was discussed prior to the case, well, prior to the incident, that I would teach her, and they already had access to my bike.
I was on gravel. I lost control of the bike. I popped a wheelie, and then I popped another wheelie.
I received a call from Scott, my witness.
The clutch gave out, and I couldn't stop the bike, so I made a decision to not go into my car and go into a tree.
He said, hey, get here quick. Crystal's in an ambulance. She wrapped your bike around a tree.
Taylor and I are not friends.
We're not friends.
I don't like snakes. I'm sorry.
Rarely do we get one that easy. I mean, it was clear she rode the bike, she wrapped the trees, she damaged it.
She made an agreement to pay for it?
Made an agreement to pay for it, and although she didn't reach exactly, the 10 days from now in which she would have breached it, I think plaintiff was entitled to it. And you assume the risk when you do dangerous adult activities, such as riding a motorcycle, and just like you said, you can't shift the blame after the fact to anyone else out there. That's your own fault, and anything that comes to you deserves to come to you.
That's it. Well, you need all kinds of IQs. She posted nude pictures of you on the internet.
Nude pictures to my mom. It's been a whole year of this, of being harassed.
Your Honor, don't speak. A woman scorned will do nothing short of getting even.
This is Judy Justice. Previously on Judy Justice.
According to both of you, that you decide to do as a side hustle is breed little Frenchy bulldogs. You do not take $3,500 out if you can't pay your own rent to buy a dog.
He had sent me a derogatory text saying thanks for paying the rent, and he had me distraught, and I got out of there.
You had a disagreement about the rent in September of 2022.
It was more than the rent, ma'am.
Whatever you had a disagreement about, you say he assaulted you.
I've never been charged with assault on her or nothing.
And now, the conclusion. Amina Thornton claims her former client, Donnie Alford, stole her property and owes her dog registration papers. Donnie says Amina defamed him on social media.
Okay, you say he assaulted you. Tell me where you were when this took place.
The assault took place in the apartment.
So you were there in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances.
The studio equipment and everything was still there. He was getting evicted, and I wanted the belongings back. I wanted the things to come back to me because they belonged to me, and that was the agreement. I have text messages. You stop paying everything. I have nothing. You hold the upper hand. When you leave, you won't have a problem bouncing back. You have your husband. I have nothing.
I see just one or two of the texts. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Absolutely.
I'm not no homeless bum. I make money. I'm one of the top entertainers in Atlanta. So therefore, I do make money. I have my own money. When I met her, I was passionate about music. I took her on. And
took her on for what?
Because I liked her aggression when it came to getting stuff done. So I asked her to manage me. I had a job at the time. I had a place to lay my head at the time. It was her decision for me to stop working. And I have in a text message where she said the agreement was for me to pay your rent, take care of necessities, and don't exceed over anything over, I think, like $8,000 a month. So I was working, doing shows, doing that, and the money that she would put in my account and I was get, that was from me, like that's actually like me working for being an artist.
I thought you were working.
The agreement was for me to stop working so I could focus strictly on music.
Well, that's
So
good. You told me you were one of the top artists.
Yes.
So what'd you need her
I'm
money
a top
for?
Entertainer. So I stopped dancing and I focused nothing on music, recording as an artist, singing. So therefore.
So you stopped doing what you made money in, that's what you
Yes.
said.
Yes.
You stopped to focus on just singing.
Yes, because I had the financial backing to do it.
Mr. Alford, why do you think she was doing that, sir?
She did it because it was lucrative. At first, it was business. Then I seen that she started taking interest in me. She never stayed at an apartment, none of that. So, yes, I overlooked the interest part, but we still had a plan. Let's get this music done. I'll get my money on the back end from the music, and that's how it was. That's exactly how it was for the long run. Then she started getting emotional. Whenever I go out, then the personal started coming in. I started backing up a little bit.
Where did you get all this money to buy the dogs?
It was from money I already had from dancing, my side money, and then money that she was giving me from working. I'm an artist. That's if I ask somebody to do something, I'm an artist, right?
I got it. I actually have the whole picture, Mr. Alford. I have her whole picture, which is, you know, sad, a little bit desperate. And I have your picture. I have the whole picture. She's getting her dogs back. Can I see the email, please, that you referenced, Ms. Thornton?
Yes.
Other than that, I'm ready to move on to his counterclaim. You're getting the registration papers for your 2 dogs. Do you have a police report?
Yep. I have my restraining order. I have an active restraining order.
Was there a hearing on the restraining order?
It's active.
Answer this question. Stop looking because you can't concentrate on my question. With regard to the assault allegation against the defendant, which took place in December of 2022, according to you, if there is an active restraining order, there had to have been either a consent by him for the restraining order or a trial.
Trial.
There was a trial.
Yes.
Did you testify at the trial?
I did.
Just a second, you're looking at papers again.
Yes, ma'am.
Did he testify at the trial?
She did.
Did the court, after the hearing, Mr. Alford, issue a restraining order?
Yes, they granted both. They told both of us to leave alone.
No. So what you're saying is you filed for a restraining order too?
Yes. No.
You did?
Yes.
No.
And then
Okay.
when she...
Shh. Mr. Alford, pay attention. This was my bailiwick. This is my home territory. She files for a protective order. She's going to show me her application for a protective order. She's also going to show me the final order of protection.
Yes.
I want you to start looking for your application for your protective order and your final order of protection.
I have my phone, please.
Your phone? I don't want to see it in a phone. I want to see the order.
Oh, my God.
Amina Thornton has accused her former client, Donnie Alford, of refusing to return registration papers for her French bulldogs. Donnie is countersuing for the value of the dogs and online defamation.
This is 6-month protective order is what it says. What I don't have is a signed order by the judge.
Okay, I'll give that to you. Just 1 second, Your Honor.
May I please have, Mr. Alford, your application for a protective order, for your application where it says Donnie Alford against Amina Thornton and your final protective order.
No, so I didn't get a final protective order.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the judge told us both to
I don't care. Don't tell me what the judge told you, sir. You're wasting my time. After the trial, the judge granted her a 6-month protective order.
Yes, both of us. Well, yes, her, yes.
Right.
Right.
Well, then I don't have to get into that. The judge already found that you assaulted her. Found the allegations or some of the allegations that were true.
Some.
I don't care. Some or all. She's suing you for an assault.
Okay.
The court found that there was sufficient assault, menacing, threatening, or harassing to issue her a final order of protection for 6 months. You have no police report, correct?
No, I did not file a police.
Okay. And the medical records on which this assault was based, a visit to the doctor, anything else?
It's just the emergency room and the follow-up.
I'd like to see it. For what date is that?
That's just the bill, Your Honor. I couldn't get I can go into My Healthy Vet. I had to go to the VA.
This is a statement date. This was just this month.
I know.
Yeah, you just got this bill for this case. Okay, throw this away. Okay, now we're going to get to his counterclaim. Put all your papers away. On your claim, the court's going to issue an order, and the order is that the 2 dogs, you'll give the names of the dogs to the clerk and all the other materials so that the AKC will issue the registration papers in your name for those 2 dogs. He has a counterclaim seeking the return of the 2 dogs, which he's not getting, 3 puppies, which he's not getting because the dogs aren't his, and defamation of character. Now, Mr. Alford, you make a claim here that, if true, is very problematic for her. You say that after this whole thing sort of broke up, the managerial relationship as well as the, albeit brief, social relationship, she defamed you by publishing someplace the fact that you have AIDS, carry multiple STDs, and hit women. So the court that heard the protective order may or may not have found that one of the actions that you did was hit women, so I'm going to forget about that in this. But I want you to show me proof that she published facts that you either have AIDS or carry multiple STDs.
So here's this.
Now just look at it carefully and make sure what you're giving me supports your statement that she alleged either one of those 2 things.
It's this one right here. It's the main one.
Just a second. Is that the only one that you have?
No, I have a lot, but that's the main one where
not main one. Not main one. I asked you for anything that you have where she published that you either had AIDS or multiple STDs.
Okay.
Your Honor,
don't speak.
Okay.
That's the only one for the AIDS and STDs that
May
I
I see them, please?
Yeah.
I don't understand this one, Sarah. You can sort of explain that to me. This is what I have. AKA, this is author Amina Thornton. I see something that's ascribed to her with her name on it. This doesn't say that you have either AIDS or STDs, sir. This says that you are a domestic violent abuser. She says that you forced her to have sex. Thief, womanizer, trash can trash. He is a deadbeat dad. Do you have 5 kids?
He has 8 with 7 women.
Okay. So just a second. Do you have 5?
I have 5.
Okay.
8.
Police are going to be at this show to pick you up. Jarvis Alpha. Well, this isn't it.
I also have an e-blast that
she doesn't say you have AIDS.
Saying that
what does that say?
This is somebody, I think, separate from the plaintiff that's messaging the defendant saying that this account that they screenshotted attributed to the plaintiff is replying under this third-party person's tweet saying that he has AIDS, a rapist.
That's okay. That's hearsay. Okay.
I also have it where she did an e-blast, was saying that I was dead, I have herpes, and she sent it.
May I see that?
Yes, that's the whole e-blast letter.
May I see it? So far, these don't establish your cause of action for defamation. Would you show this to the plaintiff, please?
And my mom got that. She sent...
Did you say, just a second, did you write that?
No, I did not.
Well, who does it say wrote it?
It doesn't say I wrote it.
What phone number does it say it comes from?
Oh, this is my husband's number. And I have the text message right here where my husband has said, this is not my wife's phone, this is my phone.
Ma'am, if you go on the affidavit or the protection order that you got stated from her, under there we have to list our numbers as contacts. You could verify that she has that number on that contact list.
And me and my husband live together.
Maybe. Okay, may I have it, please?
That's the text message that was sent to him in February.
Where's your husband?
Go find him.
Shh, listen to me. Whoever wrote this, you or your husband, it's nasty. It's nasty, right? It doesn't say that the defendant has AIDS. You can't accuse somebody of that just to be spiteful. You don't in this, but it's just a nasty, nasty email. And you say it was not authored by you.
It was not.
Could have been authored.
He had sent my husband text messages saying that he has had sex with me, made love with me, all kind of stuff.
Oh, you know what? Are you and your husband still together?
I am.
Can I say
24 years.
24 years. All right. It was a mistake.
It was a very big one.
Big mistake.
A very big one.
It was a very big mistake, Ms.
Yes,
Thornton.
the biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah, very big mistake. Who are you living with now, Mr. Alford?
I stay with my girlfriend.
Is that your
No.
girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay. And what are you doing?
I breed dogs.
You breed dogs.
Frenchies. Yes.
How many dogs do you have?
We have 3, but we currently have 2 French bulldogs and about to get another one.
I just feel sorry for all these dogs. It doesn't appear to me that it's really such a good hobby.
I'm not the person she's trying to make me out to, and I hope that you allow me to show you that.
Listen, Mr. Alford, I want you to clearly understand me. I'm not getting into extrinsic material, sir. She says you have 8 children. You say you had 5. If you have 5 children, and what you're saying is you spent thousands of dollars on dogs in the same time period where someone else is paying your rent so that you can develop your media career, how much money are you paying in child support, Mr. Alford?
I paid $25 for one child. And I
$25 a what?
$25 a month for one.
A month, just a second.
And then I pay $145 for another child. And that's only because...
A month?
Yes.
A month. Well, I have to tell you, sir, I have a 4-pound Shih Tzu, and I couldn't feed her for $25 a week.
Amina Thornton claims her former client, Donnie Alford, stole her property and owes her dog registration papers. Donnie says Amina defamed him on social media.
Go.
I'm an excellent father. I take care of my business. I do that. If I was a bum, she wouldn't have came to me and either gave me money to do what I had to do. I'm not that character. I'm not that guy. I take care of my responsibilities. I've been taking my responsibilities before I moved to Atlanta.
You can't.
Yes,
sir.
I can.
On $25 a month, you're not supporting a child.
I'm excellent.
Don't speak. I want you to be quiet.
This is his
I
career.
don't want you to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not the only thing I pay. I take care of my kids.
Tell me what you...
I take care of my
just
kids.
Just a second. How do you take care of your kids?
I provide for them.
How?
If somebody needs something, then I do it.
You mean like if they need a pair of sneakers?
If anything, I go get my kids. I have 2 kids. I came to Georgia because my kids is in Georgia.
Good. This is the ruling of the court. The ruling of the court is that we will notify AKC with regard to the...
Nothing about the defamation of character or none of that.
To the dogs. Sir.
My girlfriend is a teacher. She sent a letter to the superintendent and threatened that, oh, well, you have a rapist in the house, and sent letters and pictures, nude pictures to my mom, posted on internet. Like, I'm...
Just a second. Did you post nude pictures? Put it down. Put your thing down.
This is stuff I bought for his kid.
Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're being annoying. Did you post nude pictures of him on the internet?
No. Your Honor, he has an OnlyFans account.
I'm dismissing your case the next time you say a word. Do you understand? I'm going to dismiss your case. You'll be without the registration for the puppies. Do you understand?
This is where she sent people the text message, and you can see it has a little nudity in it, but I didn't want to make it big, obviously, because we're in the courtroom. But you can see where I'm naked in here. She sent my military ID to people. It's been like this. And then I have text message where I tell her to leave me alone. And all she does is say, oh, not until I get my dog papers, not until this happens, not until that. You wanted an enemy. I have all of this.
He's never been in the military.
Do you understand what I said? I'm going to dismiss your case the next time you say a word.
I don't understand, man.
Just a second. The next time you say a word, I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Mr. Alford, what you're claiming, sir, and I'm going to do this very quickly, what you're claiming, and I can imagine that this is a course of conduct that... What do you want?
I don't want anything.
Then take the finger down. I understand, Mr. Alford, that if what you're saying is that she's embarked upon a campaign to harass and embarrass you, look at me, Mr. Alford, what precipitated that? What precipitated this campaign of harassment? Because now you know how to go to court to get a protective order. Did you ever bring these allegations to the judge who heard the application for a protective order? That's either a yes or a no.
There is an open case that I can't discuss, but she has been locked up because she has came to my home and assaulted me and stuff like that and destroyed property. But
So, just a second. So, when you say there's an open case, where is that open case?
Fulton County.
Is it a criminal case?
Yes.
On what date was she arrested?
I don't know the exact date.
Do you know on what month and day and date you were arrested?
April 12th of 2022.
My God, you people. Was the issue with her the papers for the dogs?
No.
What was the issue? Because I think you said that before. She wanted the papers for the dogs.
The issue is that she wanted something from me and didn't get that. You know, because if it was the situation with just the dogs or anything, then she would have been left me alone. If I harassed her, if I raped her, if I did all this stuff to her, why is she still coming to me? I'm not coming to her. It's been a whole year of this, of being harassed. Your kids get involved. I didn't even know the dog had puppies. I don't follow her. She's sending me pictures of I got the dogs have puppies, woo, woo.
Well,
like all of this.
I'm going to explain something to you, Mr. Alford. You know, I could be wrong. I was last wrong in about 1947. I remember I ordered the wrong flavor ice cream from the Good Humor Man. You each wanted something different from this relationship. That's crystal clear to me. Whatever her motivation was, clearly was not your motivation. And eventually, the realization was, how old are you?
I'm 35.
How old are you?
46.
Okay. 46 doesn't go into 35. I learned that. 35 goes into 46. Okay? So eventually, it didn't pan out, and there's lots of bad feelings. Going into a business with Frenchies, I actually just feel sorry for the dogs. But if there was any irritant, Mr. Alford, any irritant whatsoever that involved the registration papers for the dogs, you should have let her have them.
No.
Because this is not a question, this is now a ruling. You should have let her have them because a woman scorned will do nothing short of getting even. Men are just happy to walk away. A woman scorned is a whole different thing. And what I'm telling you, sir, if the one irritant was giving her the papers for the dog, which there is no way you paid for these dogs.
I did.
A penny. No way you paid for these dogs. You weren't even paying your own rent. Anyway, the ruling of the court is you get the registration papers for the dogs. Everything else is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
At first, it was just business, and then it started getting personal.
The main thing was my dogs. They are my family.
I had stuff tied to the dogs and business, and she had stuff tied to the dog, and we both didn't want to lose anything.
He chose to live on lies.
It's hard to see him go, but it's even more hard that I'm still out here as this bad guy.
And if you're living on lies, then truth is never going to prevail.
You know, be careful about who you work with.
The time he assaulted me, that's when we fell out and it became an issue.
I feel sorry for the dogs because that's what she's going to do. She's going to breed them and throw them in the trash, like she said.
I love my dogs. My kids love my dogs. And we take care of them.
His ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Hancock, and her ex-boyfriend, Derek Jones, for personal property.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2063, Martin versus Hancock Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Martin, how old are you, sir?
I'm 46.
Who is this with you?
This is my girlfriend, Kimberly.
Case is not unusual, but sad. Mr. Martin, you had a long history of drug addiction.
I did.
From when to when?
From 2002 until December 1st, 2020. I've been clean for 2 years on the 1st of December.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Did you manage to get clean by going into a residential facility?
I did, yes.
How long were you in a residential facility?
I was in 23 days in an inpatient facility, and I was just over a month in an outpatient facility.
Are you currently working?
I am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a production manager for a soap and bath bomb company.
How long have you been working for them?
A year yesterday.
Are you in touch with your folks?
I am.
Back in their good graces?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a time when that wasn't true.
Correct.
This is what I gather this case is about. Miss Hancock was your girlfriend?
Yes.
For how long?
We dated from November 2019 until April 2020. We separated for a few months and got back together in July 2020 and separated again in September 2020, so 7 months.
And it would be a fair statement, sir, that the reasons that you separated on both instances is because you relapsed into using drugs.
Yes.
And it would also be a fair statement that the first time you left the house at the defendant's request, you were unsuccessful permanently from ridding yourself of addiction, but you thought you were okay and you asked her to take you back.
Yes.
And she did.
Yes.
And you would have to acknowledge to me that made her, A, a forgiving person.
Very.
And someone who cared about you.
Yes.
I say all that to you because it's not my job today to exacerbate what appears to be a strained situation, which I assume from your papers has resulted in a final protective order in favor of Miss Hancock, keeping you away from her for how many years?
Permanently.
Forever.
Yes.
And that was after a criminal case was resolved, and that was a criminal stalking case.
Yes.
That was resolved, and it was resolved in her favor probably, and I don't know this for certain, probably with a plea from you.
Yes.
And when you enter a plea, the judge always asks you, you understand your right to have a trial, you have a right to examine witnesses, you have a right to call witnesses, and by making this admission, it is the same thing as a guilty verdict.
Correct.
Judge did tell you that.
Yes.
I assume. I mean, I remember making those statements many, many times. A long, long time ago. I'm surprised I still remember any of it. And you're supposed to remain away from her.
Yes.
So the first question I have, well, I know why you're here. You're here because you say the last time she threw you out, and she threw you out not only because she found drugs that you were using again, but she had a fear that you were selling drugs out of the house, and she couldn't be involved with that, which is perfectly legitimate. You would have to acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
You'd also acknowledge, and I'm reading these papers sort of between the lines, your complaint, her answer, and the countersuit, that Miss Hancock had a child.
Yes.
A son.
Yes.
How old? When you were
15
living?
at the time.
And uber impressionable age, and the fact that you were abusing drugs in the house, it really exposed him to something that a teenager shouldn't be exposed to because his mother has feelings for that person who's drug addicted.
Yes.
And I assume you had warm feelings at some point for this 15-year-old.
Absolutely.
At the time, your parents had asked you to leave the house.
I was living with my parents at the time. Jennifer asked me to move into the house because Mr. Jones had placed a GPS tracker on her car, and she was concerned about her safety with him.
So you were dating at the time?
Yes, I was living with my parents before I moved in, yes.
Okay. Was that a happy situation?
At the time it was, yes. It didn't get difficult to
moved away from that. And when you moved in with Miss Hancock, according to you, you were not paying rent.
Correct.
You were, in fact, working.
I was.
And according to you, you were working, not paying rent, and buying certain things for the house in lieu of rent. That's what you say in your papers.
Yes, I bought things for the house. Yes.
Those were exactly the words that you swore to. You said, I also spent over $10,000 on things for her place.
Correct.
In lieu of paying to live there.
Correct.
What things did you buy?
I bought a dryer.
Dryer?
I put $1,200 into her son's Ford, fixing it. I bought...
Okay, so you paid for some things for her son. What else did you buy for the house?
We went to Costco several times and spent $1,000.
Okay, so you
towels.
went, just a second. Yeah. I'm not interested in Costco several times. Yeah. You know, you do use toilet paper, don't you?
Absolutely.
What else did you buy for the household?
I bought a battery for a Ford car. I bought a Keurig. I bought a rug, towels. I paid for the vacations while we were together. I bought some home lights for the outside.
Come on, keep going. What else did you buy?
And
what else did you buy for the house? So far, we're not close to $10,000.
That's all.
Well, you swore to the fact that you spent $10,000, that you bought things for the house in lieu of rent. So far, you've given me maybe $2,500.
Okay.
And that includes a couple of trips to Costco. So I want to know, what else did you buy for the house? Did you buy televisions for the house?
I bought televisions.
Just a second. How many televisions did you buy?
I bought two.
And how much were they?
One was $1,700. The other one was $500.
What else did you buy for the house?
Those are the only items I remember buying for the house.
Great. Now, what items do you claim that because that's what this is about so far. What items do you claim that Miss Hancock kept that belonged to you when she told you to leave the second time?
I have text messages saying...
No, don't tell me text. I don't want to hear text messages. I want to hear what items you claim are your property that she kept when she told you to leave the second time. That requires things: a fishbowl, a guppy, a pair of shoes, a tie. And if you say any of those things, I'm going to throw you out of here because I don't waste my time over guppies.
Yeah.
So tell me what you are alleging that she kept.
2 TVs.
Okay.
An entertainment center.
Just a second. You didn't tell me an entertainment. You told me you bought 2 TVs, $1,700 and $500. That would fit into the $10,000 of what you spent in the house. Entertainment center. What did you pay for the entertainment center?
Originally, I paid $1,200.
What else?
I'm also asking for the return of a rehab center that she was kicked me out of, $2,500.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Keep going.
Okay. And then 47 Nintendo 64 games.
47 what?
Nintendo 64 games.
So, Mr. Martin, because I'm going to make short shrift of this case, as you can see right now, and your girlfriend looks like a nice lady. I don't know why you're here.
His ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Hancock, and her ex-boyfriend, Derek Jones, owe for personal property. Jennifer and Derek are countersuing for harassment.
Okay, so far, all the things that you told me that you bought for the house barely add up to the $10,000 that you swore that you purchased for things for the house in lieu of paying rent. Do you understand?
I do. If I may also add, when we were separated the first time, I sold my marital home for $47,000. I cashed it at my bank and I put it into an account with her that I was an authorized user on. I did not get that money back because she removed my name from the account. So that money also went to purchase things while we were together that were for the house. I don't remember specifically what we bought. It was close to $20,000 that wasn't returned.
But Mr. Martin, I can understand that. But you know, this is a court.
Okay.
This is not a guessing game. This is not a game show. If you're saying that because of whatever reason you put your money into an account that she had access to and you spent money together on the house from that account, I can't help you with that.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
I mean, it was a time that was a fog. Did Miss Hancock and or Mr. Jones ever return any property to you or to your parents' house?
They did on November 20th.
That was in 2021?
Yes.
What month in 2021 did they return things to your parents' house?
It was November 20th to the 21st during the night.
Were you present?
I was not. I did not live there.
So I would assume that you found out that that property was delivered to your parents' house from either Miss Hancock or your parents.
My parents.
And your parents aren't here today.
They are not.
Your girlfriend was not there when they were delivered.
I have signed affidavits from them.
From whom?
From my parents about the property.
Are your parents in any way disabled, or are either one of them in the military?
No, my father was in the military, no longer.
Well, that's the only reason you don't come in person to court if you're disabled, and I might accept an affidavit, or if you're unable to come to court by virtue of the fact that you're in the military. None of those things apply here, so I'm not taking any information that you have in an affidavit. Suffice it to say that they did, over a 2-day period, return a lot of property to your parents' house.
Yes.
And that, based upon my rough guesstimates, because you can't help me out anymore with that you swore in your complaint, Mr. Martin, that you spent in lieu of rent $10,000
yes.
in the home.
Yes.
And that was specifically because you weren't paying any of the household expenses. Yes. And all of the things that you added up to me, I don't know what 47 video games are, but I assumed that the 15-year-old played them more than you did. She says they were gifted to him. I don't know whether they were or they weren't. Certainly, if you want them back. Do you still have any of the video games?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you want the video games, sir, or do you want to leave them where they are?
I would like them.
You would like them?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Hancock, I'm going to make this as easy as possible. I would like you, not the boyfriend, I would like you to pack up those video games. And do you live in the same town, area, whatever?
Close enough.
Is there a police precinct where you can drop them off?
Yes.
Do you know what precinct number that is?
I don't know the number, but I'm happy to drop them off at Bountiful City Police Department.
Got it?
Yep.
Within 5 days from today, package up the videos that you have.
No problem.
You know, if any of them are damaged, I don't want to hear from you. We're talking about a year ago, a 15-year-old has played with them, whatever. She's going to give you back your video, your 47 video games. Okay?
Okay.
Take a breath. You have to say it's over. Tell me about your new girlfriend. Are you living together?
We are, yeah. She's great. I love her.
She's great?
She's amazing.
And you're fine?
Yeah.
And you're working?
Mm-hmm.
You have to put a period to this.
Yes.
A real period.
I know.
Okay? Ms. Hancock, you and are you currently together, or is this an ex-boyfriend?
Ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend. Well, you seem to have problems with boyfriends. You got to start picking them better.
I do.
This one put a tracker on you. This one, you have a protective order permanently. You have to figure these things out before ultimately you get very hurt.
Absolutely.
Okay. I read not only your answer, and I've resolved Mr. Martin's claim. He is going to get all of his videos back. You know that Ms. Hancock and Mr. Jones have a cross-claim for harassment.
I do.
And that was not made part of the criminal case, any restitution.
No.
It was not. Did the district attorney request any restitution?
No.
Why not?
I was actually not involved. It was a criminal case, not a civil.
Well, you were the complainant in the criminal case.
The state of Utah is the one who filed it.
But you were the complainant. They may have filed it.
It actually says right here, state of Utah is the plaintiff.
Of course.
So,
I know that
I did contact the police and ask them to
so
do that.
You were the complainant.
Okay, yes.
You know, it's the state of New York versus John Jones. It's the state of Utah versus John Jones, but there has to be a complainant.
Yes.
Somebody who was robbed, somebody who was the victim of stalking, somebody who was the victim of an assault. That's the complainant. That's who you were.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Did you ever ask the district attorney for compensation for lost wages or anything else that you suffered as a result of this stalking?
No, I was not aware I could actually do that.
Okay, well, that's not something that I consider, but there is part of your counterclaim that is particularly troubling to me. And it is your claim on the counterclaim that Mr. Martin, at some point, photoshopped pornographic pictures of you.
Yes.
And disseminated them.
Yes.
When did that happen?
It was left on Derek's car. And I'm not sure when, because Derek found it and didn't tell me about it for a while because he was upset and he didn't want to upset me about it.
When did you find it, Mr. Jones?
That would have been after this first bogus stalking injunction he filed and lost.
Bogus?
He filed a fraudulent stalking injunction. He filed
stalking?
Against me.
So it was after that?
Mm-hmm.
And that was May of 2021?
One.
I'm trying to tell Mr. Martin, and I don't know how to make it any more clear to him, that his path going forward has to be putting a period, that in this whole scenario, you were the culprit.
I did not do what they're claiming right there. Absolutely, 100%. I did not.
You did not?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Let us assume, Mr. Jones, that you found on your car a pornographic picture that had been photoshopped with Miss Hancock's face and someone else's body. I'm assuming for a moment that that's true. Not that I have to look at it. I assume for the moment that's true. What proof do you have that Mr. Martin put that on your car?
Well, the problem is I don't have any proof of that, but he had put other signs up. I have a police report. He was hanging signs on my property. He got arrested for doing that and tased.
Okay.
I mean...
But I'm asking you specifically, that's what I'm particularly concerned about.
We couldn't prove it was him.
Hmm?
We couldn't prove it was him.
Okay, fine. Do you have a new boyfriend?
No, I do not.
In what month was the protective order made final?
May of 2022.
Other than this experience, what happened?
Oh, there's a fly.
There's a fly. Oh, Mr. Jones, I'm expert at flies. It's not coming.
He's accused his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Hancock, and her ex-boyfriend, Derek Jones, of keeping his personal property. Jennifer and Derek are countersuing, claiming Brian was harassing them.
Okay. Other than today's appearance, since that was issued in May of 2022, have you had any other contact with Mr. Martin?
No.
Have you?
Yes.
Tell me when.
5/7/2021, we called the police.
No. Pay careful attention to my question, Mr. Jones. Between May of 2022 and today, have you had any contact with Mr. Martin?
Just his files, his claims. He keeps filing protective orders against me.
When was the last time he filed a protective order against you?
Well, he tried filing one a week before this, and I have that
A week
as well.
before what?
Before this case.
Okay.
And I have
What
that police report. They told him no.
Okay. So they didn't allow him to file it?
That one. But he's filed several others.
I'm talking about between May.
Nope, that's the last one.
That was the last one. I'd like to see it, please, Kevin. Mr. Jones, do you have a protective order in your favor?
I've tried.
Not tried.
No, I don't.
You do not. Okay.
Your Honor, I have a video of catching him stalking my house, hanging signs. We submitted that. We also have the police report that he was arrested that day and tased.
And tased?
Yep. I have that report right here as well.
I'd like to see it. Mr. Jones, I'm going to go back to just May of 2020. Since May of 2020, have you had any contact with him? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
When?
He's submitted letters to my family. He has emailed me.
I'd like to see the letters he submitted to your family.
These are some. He said, oh, there's more. These were cease and desist
Just
letters.
1 second. Just 1 second. What's this?
Mr. Jones texted me a text that says tweaker, and that's who I...
Just, dear Miss Jones, who did you send this to?
I'm not aware of the letter. May I see it?
He took it to my rental.
What are you giving me?
These are letters he submitted to my houses or my rentals when he was trying to find me.
Just a second.
This was in relation. Mr. Jones had a temporary stalking injunction in place against him on February 7th, 2021. On May 5th, 2021, he was served that stalking injunction, and that is when the incident with the Bountiful Police took place that you're reading right now. Mm-hmm. He showed up to where I was getting my oil change. In addition to that, he has sent Facebook messages to my girlfriend that she's
I'm going to tell you that, you see how calm you are? Not him. You understand that? Not him. Probably not him, but definitely not him. And I'm going to just suggest to both of you that neither one of you want any other legal action. You already have a lifetime protective order issued against you in favor of Miss Hancock. Yes. So I'm just telling you, I'd stay as far away from him, Mr. Martin, as I possibly could. Go a mile out of your way rather than go anywhere near where he is.
That's
fine.
That's what I'm doing
now.
Ma'am.
Mr. Jones, you have, and I've been around here for a long time, these kinds of buildings for a long time, you have an attitude. I can tell you have an attitude. And things may have been bad historically, but you know your behavior wasn't perfect historically. You would agree with that with Miss Hancock, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
You would agree with that. Okay. And you're not a baby. I mean, it's not as if you're 21 years old anymore. And if you have that within you to have bad behavior against another person, that's there. Either you have it or you don't. And what I'm suggesting to you is that this is not going to be a good outcome if this animus continues. She's not your girlfriend anymore. He's got a new girlfriend. You don't have anything to do with him anymore. Nothing. If you have to travel a mile out of your way to avoid going anywhere where he gets lunch, coffee, a Jiffy Lube, or anything else, I would suggest that you do it.
I've done that. He keeps filing protective orders.
Good. Well, he can do that. So can you. And what I'm suggesting is that it's not... Don't add fuel to this fire, madam. It's my job to try to temper it. If what you're going to do is to add fuel to this fire, then I think that it's really not a smart idea. The plaintiff will get his 47 videos back within 5 days. They will be dropped off at the local police precinct. What?
May I actually say there's only 21 that was ever given, so there's not 47.
How many do you have?
We have 19 of those games.
Okay, 19.
Yes.
You have any other property that belongs to him?
No.
No. Okay, we're done here. 19. 5 days. Police precinct.
This court is adjourned.
I'm disappointed because I've dealt with this man for over 2 years.
He's just jealous of my awesomeness.
I've moved on with my life. I have a new girlfriend, and I just want my things back.
Whatever. I just want him out of my life.
It's time to close the chapter. It's time to move on.
I never want to see him again. I never want to hear from him again.
People spend so much time with negative energy.
Oh, yes.
Sarah, if the one thing that you and all other single people out there can take away from this case is that women are supposed to be smart. And clearly, she had a nose for bad boys.
Yeah.
Because according to what we heard, the reason she invited him to come and live with her was because the
different problem with a different
co-defendant, right, co-defendant, Mr. Jones, was really stalking her. Mm-hmm. And the same problem she had with the plaintiff. But stalking is an odd one. You have to be a little bit off to engage in stalking, to really terrorize somebody.
Especially to the level of legal action for stalking.
Yeah.
Because I know the standard for getting a restraining order, even a temporary one, is very high, the standard.
There has to be some pretty serious stuff that the judge reads. And he pled guilty. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Jones also acknowledged that he had not treated her well. So it's always sad to me when perfectly reasonable women, sometimes because of their need to nest, will choose subpar mates.
I think it's more important to hold on to your own energy than to allow it to seep into these negative wells that will just run you dry.
You're absolutely right. Just remember it.
Levi Shaw is suing his parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, for the repair costs of an 18-wheeler truck.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
How are you?
Case number 2032, Shaw versus Celestine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Shaw, these are your parents, is that right?
Yes, they are.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Just the very broad framework of this case. You're suing your parents for money that you put into a truck that belongs to them.
Correct.
And they are counterclaiming for money that they say you owe them for a balance of a dog they purchased for you. Mm-hmm. The truck that you fixed belonged to your parents.
Yes, the agreement was...
the truck that you fixed belonged to your parents. And what I gather is that you would come into some money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm is not an answer.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And when did you come into that money?
I never came into any money from them after I fixed
Not from them. I didn't say from them, that you came into some money. Uh-huh. Uh-huh is not an answer.
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. I came into some money in October.
In October, you were not employed.
I was employed.
By whom?
Construction.
Is that their company?
No, I was working with them and their brother.
So you were working with the family?
Yes.
Okay. That was in October.
Yes,
October of 2021. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh is not an answer.
I mean, yes,
is an
ma'am.
answer.
I'm sorry.
And how much did you come into?
About $10,000 for the month of September and October.
And then your father said to you, I assume, you should take some of that money and buy a 16-wheeler truck so that you...
No, ma'am.
Well, how did that happen, sir, that you got possession of your parents' truck?
So
Did you try to buy a truck on your own?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, in what month? Just a second. In what month did you try to buy a truck for yourself?
January.
January of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And tried to buy a truck so that you could have your own truck for long hauling and business.
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to a dealer and you found the truck that you liked, but you didn't qualify for financing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how much is a new truck?
That truck, it wasn't new. It was a 2015, and they priced it at $60,000.
60?
Yes, ma'am.
And you told your parents about that?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
There was a discussion that they had an older truck that wasn't running.
It needed minor work.
It needed...
was told to me.
Okay, so they said to you it needs minor work. Was it running?
It was running, but the diamond seal was cracked, so eventually the truck was just going to break down completely.
Okay, so you took that truck with the understanding that you were going to repair the truck, and then what?
To make money. But
So you would repair the truck and then use it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would keep most of the profits from using that truck? I mean, I'm trying to understand what the agreement was.
My dad, Nathan, told me that the truck was only going to be worth $4,000 to fix, which was a diamond seal. It needs some bushings. It needs something for the exhaust pipe. And I was like, okay. But when the dude kept calling me for the truck, and he was like, okay, this needs to be done.
But you took the truck into a mechanic?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they give you an estimate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Before or after they did the work?
They gave me one before, but I don't have that estimate, but I have the one for after.
You mean after they completed the work, they sent you a bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not an estimate. An estimate, sir, is when you go in and say, here is a truck. I want you to give me an estimate of what it is to have it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you an estimate, and then you determine whether or not you want them to do any or all of that work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would never bring a truck into any mechanic or to any dealership mechanic and say, fix it.
When they was calling me, telling me additional problems that was wrong, I would call them, which I have my phone records that show that I was also calling them once the dealership called me to fix the truck.
Well,
because some
just a
stuff
second.
on the truck wasn't able, like it needed a new gear, it needed new transmission was messed up on the truck.
Just a second. All I want is what you're telling me, that your father told you to go ahead and fix those things each time you got a call?
Yes.
Okay, so you would call him and your father would not say to you, well, how much is that to fix?
Well, yeah, he was, but I had already had a settled amount that I told him that I was willing to spend, which was $10,000.
Well, did you spend $10,000?
The truck was actually over $10,000.
I understand to fix it, but you actually spent
$10,000.
You actually spent the $10,000.
$10,900 to be exact.
To fix the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the truck was $13,000 to fix.
Yes, ma'am.
So you paid the additional $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the truck is running.
Yes, ma'am. It's running. It was running before, Your Honor.
But it's running now better because
yes,
there are.
Yes, ma'am.
Because
using it.
Just a second. I can only hear from one of you. He said the truck is in use. You said no.
It's not used. Is the truck?
No, Your Honor. I misunderstood what you said. I thought you was talking about the repair. You saying is the truck operable now? Yes, it's operable, but it's not on the road.
It's not on the road? Who
Yes,
cares
ma'am.
if it's not on the road?
Oh, yes.
The idea
Yes, ma'am.
was he was supposed to fix the truck and supposed to be able to use the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he able to use the truck?
Yes, he's able to use the truck.
Okay, great. When was the last time he tried to use the truck?
He never tried to use the truck after it was fixed. He said that he no longer wanted to be a part of the deal to give him his money back.
Okay.
I have something. Now, when the truck originally got fixed in February, my dad came into town multiple times. It was one more piece that needed to be fixed, which was the ABS module, which if you get pulled over, they're going to stop you and shut you down completely.
I don't know.
And I told him, hey, we need to get that fixed. He came into town 3 times, and I asked him, hey, is you going to take the truck to the shop? Hey, is you going to take the truck to the shop? He said no. And he's like, well, it don't have any insurance. And it was just a whole bunch of excuses why he couldn't take the truck to the shop.
Whether he can or he can't, he says, and your mother says you're able to use the truck.
But I don't have a CDL, so I'm not able to drive it.
Well, you didn't have that when you took it in anyway, to be fixed.
But I didn't take the truck over there. He drove the truck to the mechanic shop.
Whatever. I don't care who drove it there, but your agreement with him was you tried to buy a new truck. It was much too expensive. Your agreement with your parents was that you would take an older truck of theirs that needed a lot of work, and you took it into a mechanic, and the mechanic was going to fix the truck, make it operable, so that you would have an opportunity to use it and make money.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm asking you, now the truck is fixed to the tune of $13,000. When was the last time that you asked to use the truck that your parents said you can't?
Well, I asked him, can I have his dad take the truck to get the additional piece put on, and he told me no, just to wait till he come into town.
Okay.
Shaw claims his parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, owe for the repairs of an 18-wheeler truck. Levi's parents are counters to it for the balance of an English bulldog.
Was the additional piece put on the truck that he's talking about?
No, ma'am. It didn't actually
Why?
need that addition. It was an ABS modulator, which on that particular model was a 1995 FLD Classic. On that particular model, you don't need that to reset the ABS light. All you need is a sensor that goes in the hub of the wheel.
What I'm asking you is, your son said that you needed this one part. This is your business.
Yes, ma'am.
How much is that one part?
This is a part that I never researched, so I can't tell you that. But according to him,
Perhaps I didn't ask you anything. Perhaps you can tell me.
The part was $900.
That was returned back.
It was never returned because they wouldn't let me return it because it's dealing with wires. So when I asked them, can I return it, they said no. And I had a text where I text her and I said, hey, they will not let me return this piece.
Return what piece?
The ABS module. They will not let me return it because it's electrical and they do not accept returns on electric pieces.
So is what you're telling me that you bought this piece for $900?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that it wasn't necessary. You didn't buy it from him.
No, but I don't know if it was necessary, but what the mechanic told me and what
you can't tell me what the mechanic told you.
Well, I'm just saying the mechanic told
No,
me
you
that it
can't
needed.
tell me what the mechanic told you. Well, all I'm telling you, Mr. Shaw, is you had an agreement with your parents to fix a truck and then to be able to use it. And I want to know whether they have ever denied you the right, because that was the contract that you made. You never made a contract with them that you would take a truck to the mechanic and they would pay for the repairs. You never made that contract with them. You want me to say that that was your contract with them. They say the truck is operable now and that you can use it. When do you want to use it?
Well, if they're willing to let me use it, then I want to use it as soon as possible.
Okay, and you can drive the truck?
No, I was going to hire a driver.
Okay, and the truck now is not on the road, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
No,
that's right. That's right.
the truck is not on the road.
No, ma'am, it's
is
not.
what you said, but operable.
Yes, it's not operable.
Okay, and after the agreement that your son was going to pay the money, fix the truck, and then be able to work at it so that he's getting some benefit from what he put into the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an agreement?
I wanted to ask.
I'm not looking at you.
Okay.
Did you have a discussion with him about how much of the time he would be able to utilize the truck, or was your agreement with him that he could use it at will?
I gave him a specific time. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear what the specific times
were. The specific time was...
Let's make it up as we go.
No, ma'am. I'm thinking straight to you. I'm going to tell you just like it actually is. I gave him specifically, according to him, about 3 months of when he probably needed it, to get himself together.
No, just a second. You mean he was going to spend $10,000 on fixing the truck and you were going to let him use it for 3 months?
Well,
put your hand down. I'm not talking to you.
Well, as long as he needed it. I'm going to put it that way. As long as he needed the truck.
Okay. So now that's better.
Yes, ma'am.
So that he can use the truck whenever he needs it and he's going to get a driver. I just want to know because we're going to have to memorialize all this in an order. What do you want?
We had a driver. My brother was the driver.
I don't care whether your brother was the driver or not. That was not the agreement that your husband said he made with his son.
Yes, ma'am.
He says he made an agreement with him that if he paid to have it fixed, he could use the truck whenever he wanted to. That's what your father says.
No, that is not true.
Okay, so when did you ask to use the truck?
So in January, when I was getting the truck fixed, they told me $4,000. But as the mechanic kept calling me, adding on stuff, I said, hey, I'm not about to pay all this money, and y'all telling me I can just use it. If I'm about to put all my money into it, I want the truck. And my mom was like, okay, you can do that. Because in January, they didn't make any money.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is what you said to your mother, I'm not going to put in all this money unless the truck belongs to me.
Correct.
Well, that's not unreasonable, Mr. Shaw. I can actually see that. You're spending $10,000 of your money and you want to be able to use the truck. And you want it to be able to not have it on a whim of somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
How old is this truck?
This truck is exactly 22 years old.
How long have you owned it?
I've owned it since I was 23 years old.
Okay, so you've owned it since it was new?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make a living from it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Good. Do you have other trucks now?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How many others?
Just one other. I'm not no big scale company. I just got one other truck, yes, ma'am.
Can I see the title to the truck, please?
To the truck we're talking about?
Yes.
I don't have that title with me.
Why not?
I was under the impression that I didn't need to bring it.
Okay. And according to you, the truck's not on the road now?
No, ma'am, it's not on the road.
Do you remember having a conversation with your son about, I'm not going to spend all this money unless the truck is mine?
Yes, ma'am, I do remember that conversation.
Do you remember where it took place?
He was driving and I was at home.
So it was over the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember what month that was?
January.
January of 2022.
Correct.
Tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I told him, I totally understand what you're saying. I said, let me talk to your daddy, and we'll see what we could do, but...
Great. As a parent, that sounds perfectly reasonable. And did you speak to your husband?
Yes, I did.
Did the two of you own the truck?
He owns the truck. It's in his name and Nathan's name.
So you said, okay, that sounds okay. Let me talk to your daddy. You have to talk to the owner of the truck because
Correct.
Now you're seeking to change the agreement. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after you spoke to your mother, did you have a conversation with your father about the ownership of the truck?
Yes, we did.
And tell me when that was and what was discussed.
It was in January as well, and when I told him that, he said he totally agreed with me that if I put in majority of the money, that I can have the truck.
Okay. I want to tell you certain things sort of ring true to me. If I were a young person and spending all my money for a business, because this is the business that he was going to be in, he was going to hire a driver and he was going to take a certain amount of the profits. I could understand him saying to his parents, who now have a truck that they're not using because it's not on the road, I'm going to spend all my savings, it looks like, because the initial estimate was $4,000, but it kept going up and up and up and up and up. So if I'm going to spend all this, put your hand down. If I'm going to spend all this money, I'd like to own the truck. And in response to that, his mother said, and acknowledges that she said, it sounds right to me, I'm going to speak to your father. And according to you, you spoke to your father, and your father said, sounds okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you went ahead and spent the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Levi Shaw says his parents, Davery and Nathan Celestine, owe for the costs of repairs to an 18-wheeler truck. Levi's parents say he never used the truck, and it is still not fixed.
I'd like to see the bills for the truck.
Oh, I have it on my phone.
Well, what is that?
These was the bank statements because at first they was countersuing for insurance as well. So I was showing bank statements where I had sent them money. So that's what these was for. But I have it on my phone, but I don't have it in the statements.
Well, I need it.
Here you go.
Is that the one final invoice?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
And it also I have at the bottom where it says it needs the ABS module.
Your Honor, can I see that as well?
Yes. Well, so the entire amount is $13,000.
$13,000 and some change.
And your father paid $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not the correct invoice.
What?
I have the original invoice.
Fine, I'll take a look at yours.
The invoice that was sent to me via, so by their email, which I could pull up their email as well.
And it shows that it's paid on the back.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the same thing as he showed me.
But it has our name on it.
Who cares?
The ones that he showed you, it changed since then.
Well, but let me ask you a question.
No.
Unless I'm missing something.
No.
You're not questioning the fact that he paid $10,000 to fix the truck out of the $13,000 that the truck was. Are you questioning that?
No, I'm not
questioning
that.
Then I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Let's go over this one more time. When your son said to you, if I'm going to spend all this money, I want to own the truck, and your wife had the same conversation with you, right? She said, I got a call from Levi. Levi said if he's going to spend all this money, he really wants the truck, and she actually thought it was okay. And what did you say, sir?
I said that I'm not going to sell you the truck.
Why?
I will let you use the truck.
No, when did you say that?
Because I have other children.
Oh, no, but your other children didn't put any money into the truck.
No, I know.
No, just a second. Your other children didn't put any money into the truck.
But there's like...
Hand down.
He didn't ask me to buy the truck.
Okay.
He asked, could he use it?
Just a second.
He was going to sell it to my uncle because when the repairs got done, they actually didn't have enough money because I had $8,000 saved up. They took $4,000 of my $8,000.
That you got paid back.
Yes, but they didn't have the money, so when you just...
Mr. Shaw, I don't expect you to talk to each other. I don't expect you to talk to him.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
It's very easy. I believe that you changed the contract with your son from a contract where he would pay for the repairs, which was supposed to be $4,000, and then you have the use of the truck, to the fact that he was going to spend $10,000, which was all of his money. Put your hand down. I'm not... This 22-year-old truck that you've had since it was new was going to be his. And I am going to craft an order to the Department of Motor Vehicles to reissue a title in the truck to him. Do you understand? He's going to take that order. He's going to get a new registration for the car and a new ownership. Unless you want, put your hand down. This is not a. This is not. It's not.
I don't understand that.
Well,
I got other children. I got 5 other kids.
Do you want me to say it's slower?
Your Honor.
And I say, what about the $3,500 that we put into it?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
But it wasn't $4,500, it was $3,500.
35. I'm sorry if you didn't hear me well.
Man.
You are absolutely entitled to that.
Dude.
I believe you are entitled to that. He put in 10. That's his truck.
I made, Yana, I worked all my life with that truck.
I don't care.
I worked all my.
I don't care. He's not going to spend his $10,000 on
I done made over $1 million
your
with
truck.
the truck.
That's ridiculous.
I want you to stop it.
Say, man. Hey, man. How can you tell me
Now,
to stop
are
on
we
something
going-
I worked blood, sweat, and tears on? He finna take.
I need a break.
That's the judgment. I'm not entertaining your counterclaim. That's the judgment of the court. You get title to the truck. You can retrieve it as soon as you change the registration of the truck. However, in order to do that, you have to give your parents the $3,500 that they put into the truck. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor,
Good.
what about
We're
this
done.
dog?
We're done.
This court is adjourned.
We're done.
We
I have
paying
a
for this
question.
dog.
We're done.
It's over.
Okay.
We paying for this dog, and he's
It's
not
over,
giving
man.
us nothing.
Let me explain something to you. The reason, let me explain something to you. The reason that I'm not hearing your counterclaim is because the two of you were disrespectful and didn't listen to me. Oh, yes, you did. That's it. We're done.
All right. My actions of my response to what she was saying is wasn't nothing being disrespectful towards her.
I'm very glad she ruled in my favor.
It was the initial, the thought of giving up my hard-earned possessions.
It was because I did try to work it out before we came to court, and they was like, no, we're not going to pay you nothing.
I never would have thought in a million years sue my parents, even though they, my parents whooped my butt. But that was just something you had to go through back then.
It saddens me. I'm in disbelief that my parents did that to me. I didn't think that they would do that.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know his plans. I can't talk that.
If you do business with family, make sure you get contracts.
I sympathize with the plaintiff's position on this because modifications of contracts are supposed to be allowed when there's a change in circumstance. So it's not like he was attempting to change the contract every Friday or for no reason. He thought that it was going to be $4,000. It turned out to be $10,000 to fix the truck. And as such, he wanted a bargain for exchange. That's a lot more money than he initially intended. So that conversation makes sense to me, that conversation between his parents, that I know we had agreed to this, but now with this new information, this is what I'm comfortable with. Is that okay?
I think so. I think that is a common sense interpretation of what happened.
For a truck that cost $60,000 20 years ago, to put in $10,000 to it is not nothing. That's a big investment.
Well, it probably isn't worth more than that. And the condition that it was in before he had it repaired, their position was unreasonable because now they have a fixed truck
that their child paid for. And with the animus between them, it doesn't seem to me as if he's going to get any benefit from the bargain. So the modification of their original oral contract, which I think happens occasionally when circumstances change, as long as both parties agree. And I actually think that both the mother and the father said okay, and then something happened that I don't know about. Don't want to know about.
And I don't want to know about it. But I think it's fair that he had possession of the truck since he paid the majority.
Cassandra Duenas is suing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow for money from a snake breeding business.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case number 212, Duenas versus Cho.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duenas, it looks to me from your papers that you decided to go into a business with someone.
Yes.
With whom?
With the defendant, Brian Chow.
And you know him how?
He's a family friend.
And you know what his business is?
Yes.
What is his business?
He currently sells reticulated pythons, snakes, exotic animals, monitors, lizards.
And you like those things?
My ex-boyfriend did.
Did you?
I was more for the investment part.
Okay.
I was the investor at the time.
At the time you reached out to this family friend who was in the exotic snake business, your idea was to create a business.
No, Your Honor. It was actually the defendant's idea.
I don't care whose idea it was. Your idea was to create a business with your ex-boyfriend.
I agreed to the business, but it wasn't our idea.
Whether you agreed to the business or not, you invested money in the business.
Yes.
Which means that unless there's something wrong with you, and I see that there is not, you wanted to go into business with the defendant.
Yes.
So let's be easy.
Okay.
And at the time that you wanted to go into business with the defendant, I'll get to what the nature of that business was in a second. I know it had something to do with that wonderful-looking snake. You had a boyfriend.
Yes.
And the boyfriend liked snakes.
Yes.
And you went along with the ride.
Yes.
What month and year were you still with the boyfriend when you decided to go into the business, which you will explain to me?
Back in November of 2019.
So right before COVID.
Yes.
What was your boyfriend doing at the time?
He was working at an airport.
And he and Mr. Cho were friends?
Yes.
How long had you known him?
2-3 weeks, Your Honor.
Where did you meet him?
He came into my store and acquired
I didn't ask you anything. That's how you met him?
Yes.
I'm going to get through this case and get this lovely thing out of the courtroom as quickly as I possibly can. Well, some people find them exotic and gorgeous. I find them a little bit squirmy. So in November 2019, boyfriend and you decided to go into the business. Explain the business that you invested in.
I invested on 5 reticulated pythons, 1 male and 4 females. That was the original deal.
And what were you going to do with them?
Mr. Brian Chow was going to have it in his shop, and together we were going to breed them and make a profit out of them.
So the intention was never for you to take these pythons to your residence?
No.
And you understood that? No.
They're buying the snake, Your Honor.
Okay. How much were the 5 snakes?
In total, it was $10,000, plus the feeding and the cages that he claimed that the snakes needed.
Was it your agreement that for $10,000, Ms. Duenas and the boyfriend were going to buy 1 male snake and 4 females?
They decided to buy 2 snakes.
Well, when was that decision made, sir?
A week after I met him, because
When you went into the shop, did you ultimately decide on 1 male, 1 female?
No, so how it is, Your Honor, is he knew my ex-boyfriend prior to the business 5 years ago. He sold him a exotic Australian monitor lizard.
Okay, what I want you to tell me is, did there come a time when the arrangement changed, so instead of 1 male and 4 females, you were supposed to get 1 male and 1 female?
No, Your Honor. The whole way, it was supposed to be 1 male and 4 females.
Do you have any sort of a receipt for that?
We have Instagram conversations.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Right here.
1 male, 4 females. The guy's asking $15,000 for all, and then he says, I'll drop it to 12. Then somebody, I don't have 12 now. I just spent a lot on my monitor. Let's go the rest. Okay, so you say, I don't have that money now. He says, I'm getting 16 lace monitors. You remember that discussion? And then that's a big investment for me right now. I'm saving up to get a house, but I'm down to breed my monitor with any of your monitors. Keep going. So far, I don't have a contract. And then somebody says, no, you pay half and I pay half. Who wrote that?
He did.
No, you pay half and I pay half. Then you say $6,000. I'm short $6,000. I want to get them, but I'm low on cash till next month. And that's from you. That's from the reptile.
I had to see it, Your Honor.
Okay. If I invest half with you, what will be my return and in how long? Think about it. That's will be the baby's mix price. JTK Reptiles, that's you. Somebody's on their way. That's you and your boyfriend?
Yes. We were on our way to give him the money.
And how much money were you going to give him?
We gave him the first time $6,000 and then $4,000, a total of $10,000.
You received that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did you purchase with the $10,000?
If you look at the message from there, what she showed you is they pay half of the 5 snake. It means they get 2 of the snake, and I get 2 of the snake. They've been lying to you guys since day one. They want to purchase 2 snake. Then I told them, like, if you look at the message, I can use my male to breed it to your female. It's an investment for you guys, not for us. It's no us. It's not with them at all.
Mr. Cho, were they supposed to take possession of the snakes?
They're supposed to pick up the snake. That's why they come to the store with it.
Which snakes were they supposed to take possession of?
One right here and one out there.
Is that a male or a female?
This is the female.
Has she had babies yet?
No, I don't breed her because she don't belong to me.
And how old is she?
Right now, she should be about 6 years old, going 7.
How long do they live?
Over 30 to 40 years, depends on how you take care of them, like I take care of them.
And there's another one outside the
Yes.
courtroom that's the same as this one. Also a female?
Yes.
And you gave him the $10,000. He acknowledges the $10,000. So we have a verbal contract that you were going to pay for some snakes. He was going to order the snakes for you, which he did. And that was accomplished, and the payment for the snakes was done on what date, the first payment?
Approximately in November of 2019.
And when was the next $4,000 payment?
The same month, I would say like a week.
Good. And when did you order the snakes, Mr. Chow?
Right after I get yeah, because I cannot just acquire the animal without the payment.
Okay, so now you've got the payment and you order the animals.
Yes.
On what date do they arrive?
2 days after, their FedEx delivered to my shop.
And when did you notify the plaintiff that they were there?
The day that they came, I tell them the snake is
So it was also in November, sometime in November. And when did they arrive?
The snake arrived?
No, the plaintiff and the boyfriend.
They arrived a week after I notify the boyfriend.
Okay. Now, Ms. Duenas, a week later you went to the shop. And what happened when you went to the shop? Now he's got $10,000 and he's got 2 snakes.
I just want to clarify, Your Honor, that we even gave him money for the tanks because here in the conversations it says that he can't continue having them in tubs. So he needs us to give him money to invest to buy the tanks to house the snakes. So our original plan was for him to keep the snakes because he has the shop. We, at the time, lived in an apartment. He was well aware of this, that we couldn't have big snakes in our apartment.
He says no, you say yes. I'm not sure how I can resolve that. I'm trying to simplify this contract.
Cassandra Duenas claims exotic pet store owner Brian Chow owes her money for a snake breeding business. Brian says Cassandra changed her mind about the business after he purchased the snakes.
Okay, part of the contract was fulfilled because you paid him. Then he ordered the snakes. Second part was fulfilled. I want you to tell me what happened when you went to see the snakes. You say to see them. He says to pick them up a week later.
So when we went to the shop,
Who
what
went?
led us to
Who went?
My ex-boyfriend and I. What led us to there is because after he obtained the snakes, he was not reaching out back to us. He was
Just a week later.
Yes.
You went to the shop. He notified you that the snakes were there. There's no question about that. Now, you went to the shop for what purpose?
Because he switched it and then he said it was 2 snakes when originally the plan was 1 male and 4 females. That 1 male was going to breed with the 4. So right out the back, he lied to us what our agreement was here, that he clearly texted us and said 4 males and 1 female. So it was 5 snakes. So we went to the shop.
Yeah, but there was a problem there with pricing in the Instagram messages, a suggestion, because some of the texts were unavailable. He said originally they were $15,000. And then there was some discussion of $12,000. And then there was some discussion of $6,000. He says he'll pay half and you pay half. And there, I can imagine that there was some sort of an agreement for you to keep the snakes if you were going to pay half. You were always supposed to give them the snakes. Why would you pay half?
Then they get the 2 of the snake, and I get the 2 of the other snake. It's 5 of them. And the one that we're gonna pretty much, they can have it if they want it, or I can use it when I need it.
You mean the male?
Yes.
So that was the business. Anyway, you went there, and what happened?
So I went in recording. My ex-boyfriend told me, hey, record.
Don't tell me what your ex-boyfriend told you.
Okay.
Just tell me you went in and what happened.
We went in there and we asked him, hey, we agreed on 5 snakes. Now you switched up and you said now it's 2 snakes. First you told us it was $15,000, then $12,000. You were playing games with us the whole time. And at this point, after a week later that he said that he got the snakes, then he told us it was 2 snakes. At that point, we were upset because we had planned and we had counted with 5 snakes. That's why we gave him that ridiculous amount of money. And basically, we didn't want nothing else to do with him. We wanted our money back. And that's what we went for, our money back.
Just a second. Yes. So you walked in wanting your money back?
Yes.
Do you have any text messages, Instagram messages, suggesting that before you got there, you had said to him, we changed our mind, we don't want to be in business with you, we want our money back?
No.
Nothing?
No. He wasn't reaching out. Sorry, Your Honor. He wasn't reaching out to us. He was sending him video calls. He was calling him through text message, my ex-boyfriend.
I don't care. You paid the money. He got snakes. The question is, you think there's supposed to be more than 2? He says 2. More were more money. So the ultimate agreement was for 2. So what happened when you went there? You're there with your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you say, I want my money back. And he says...
He says, I don't have the money here. I have 2 snakes here.
Are you telling me that he didn't call you and say your snakes are in? Is that what you're suggesting? Do you have an invoice for these snakes, Mr. Chow?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the invoice for the snakes. By the way, your boyfriend has other of these exotic creatures.
Wire
Is that right?
to the people that I get them.
What kind of exotic creatures does he have?
One that he sold him, an Australian water monitor from the Philippines.
And?
He has 2 rhino iguanas, a pair. He has a, I don't know the name, but it changes colors.
Mr. Chow?
Yes.
This is a wire transfer, May 24th, 2018. And the date of this wire transfer is August of 2018.
And those are for the lace monitor that
Are these lace monitors?
Yes.
Sorry, Your Honor, these are not lace monitors. These are reticulated pythons. These are not monitors. Monitors are lizards. These are snakes.
Lace monitor bell face.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's not that.
No, Your Honor.
Well, these are useless.
Yes, but that's connected to the rest of what they did.
What does that have to do with these 2 snakes? What I want to see is when you purchased these 2 snakes.
Yeah, I don't have it, Your Honor.
Well, get it. What do you mean you don't have it?
I left it at home. I'm so sorry.
Well, what'd you bring these for?
Those are the time that they both got arrested when they went to my shop.
Yeah, but you now have those back, right?
Yes.
You have those back. So if you had to take documents, why didn't you take the documents for the snakes in question? The lace monitor lizards aren't in question. You have them back. They may have taken them. They were arrested and you finally got them back. So I don't understand that.
I just mistaken grabbed the wrong paper.
Well, Mr. Chow, do you deal with these people regularly, that you buy snakes from them regularly?
Not really. It depends on the size of the animal and depends what kind of animal.
Well, you have the date of purchase someplace, Mr. Chow, and I don't want you to waste my time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's why I just said I don't have it, Your Honor.
Did they purchase that kind of snake?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
It was 5 snakes, Your Honor.
Don't give me 5. That type of snake.
Oh, yes, the reticulated python, yes.
And the one that's outside is the same, correct?
Yes.
And you did not purchase baby snakes.
No.
You wanted full-grown snakes because they were a business. You wanted them able to be... Breeding. Okay. Should have brought the paperwork. And you went in there that day in November because you had changed your mind.
Yes, and on top... Yes.
Because you had changed your mind.
Yes.
That's the answer. You had changed your mind. You can give me a whole bunch of excuses, and you told him you changed your mind, you want your money back. And he said no, because I ordered the snakes, and I got them in, and they're yours. Contract is completed. I'm merely holding your property. And then there was a kerfuffle. And tell me about the kerfuffle.
The issue was that it was going back to what I was saying is then we asked him as well, can we have like receipt? How much did you really pay for them?
No, that's not your business. That's not your business, how much you really paid for them. He made a deal, you paid him. If he got them for $2,000 and you paid him $10,000, that's nothing. The kerfuffle, let's draw this down to its most simple English. You wanted your money back and you wanted to cancel this contract.
Yes, it's just when we arrived, those weren't the snakes that we ordered. These were the breed of it, is the ones that he was putting here on Instagram, which I have, which is not those. So we ordered something and we got something else. So
is what you're telling me, you went there to pick up your, because now it's changed. You went there to pick up your snakes. When you got there, they turned out to be a different...
It's breed. It's like the...
Pythons, right?
Yes.
They're pythons, but it was a different kind of python. Now you're telling me because it was a different python, you wanted your money back.
Yes, because it wasn't what we paid for. It's like we paid for a Ferrari and we got a Toyota, basically. It's basically
You know nothing about pythons, so you're taking your cues from your boyfriend because that's his strong suit. Is it yours as well?
No, I'm just the investor.
Right. So your boyfriend had a conversation with him and said, those aren't the snakes that I ordered.
Yes.
Okay. And I want my money back.
Yes.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Cassandra Duenas is accusing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow of wrongfully keeping money for a snake breeding business. Brian says he fulfilled their agreement and claims Cassandra stole property from his store.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. You just press play.
Which one?
Right here. And then you press that.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You guys just want to do the money back.
Yeah. The 10,180 in total, and then money on top of that for lending you the money and everything.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because we didn't see this coming. You just kept on giving us a runaround and a runaround.
Oh, no, what?
About the mail. Remember that?
No, that's why I'm waiting for the mail to be delivered. I don't have the mail.
Yeah, but remember you had told us that the guy had it because he had to leave and he had to gut out because he has surgery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We gave you the money right there and then. You don't understand what mission we had to go
I
through.
didn't know. I don't mind getting you guys your money back, but I don't have cash right now. You guys caught me by surprise.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to do it today though. Like we need our money today.
If you want it right now, I don't have it.
We told you we want to do business correct, and you just keep on giving us another day and another day.
You told us as soon as we give you the money, the snake was gonna be here.
Yeah, it's not about me, it's the guy. It's not me. I'm just buying the snake from a different guy.
And then another thing where you messed up, you said 5 snakes for 6,000, and you come at me with 4 and you wasted my money.
Yeah, and I told you that he gave me only 4 snakes, the big giant.
Yeah, and why would you waste money if I told you to get the 5 snakes?
If you worry about the last one, I can pay for it. It's a mail that we don't need.
But I have to do all this, so I have to get like this for you to do that?
No, bro.
How could I trust you now?
Bro, the 4 snake is right here.
I'm
gonna go get something. What's wrong with you, bro? I'm just asking you. Let's talk.
No, we're not gonna talk. I told you don't with me.
I don't call with you, bro.
Thing, dog.
Why? What's
that's
wrong?
gonna be mine.
Because we gave you a lot of money. We're talking about over $10,000, and you're just giving us the runaround. First, you told us
this
5
is what
snakes.
we can do. I'll take it. And when you get the money, I'll give it back. Yeah, female too.
Oh, no.
Oh, no? All right. Well,
Come on, bro. You're looking at a 15 grand.
I told you don't play with me.
I don't play with
You
you.
don't even have the money right now.
Open them up, man.
I got the half of the money.
Open them up.
I'm trying to talk to you, bro.
No, there's no more talking because we gave you the money right here and then. That's unprofessional. You're trying to scam us, and you don't do that to people like
I
that.
didn't. How did I scam
They don't
you?
open it up before I open it.
You're telling me that you don't have the money.
I have half of the money because I'm waiting for the snake. Bro, if you guys gonna get arrested. If you guys
There's
take-
no arresting. We're just getting what you took from us. Over $10,000.
I'm trying to talk
Over
to you.
$10,000.
I'm trying to.
No, we tried to talk to you.
I'm
You're
not.
telling
Don't play
us
with
you're
my
gonna
money.
have the money. I have everything in video.
I don't
okay?
care. You can record me, bro.
All right, so are you gonna
You
open
don't
it?
play with people's money. You can call
You owe me
whoever you
over
want.
$15,000.
This is 15 grand.
We don't care.
Can you call a cop, please?
No. All right, watch out. Come back away. I told you, don't play with my money.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care. Get out. 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 Get out.
Let them alone.
He owes us money. He owes us money. He owes us money.
They're gonna deal with it. We don't believe.
Now I'll play that video, please. That's your boyfriend breaking into the...
Yes.
Yes. And when he broke the glass and took out whatever lizards he took out with him, where did he take them? You were still with him.
Yes, he put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's all right. That's fine. That's a co-conspirator. Ultimately, the lizards that you took were returned to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it seems, Mr. Chow, at the beginning of this case, I must acknowledge to you that I was sympathetic to your position, that they had ordered snakes. You ordered them, you got them,
Yes, Your Honor.
and then the contract is completed. uncross your arms.
No, I'm so sorry.
But it's clear from the tape that the plaintiff played for me that you acknowledged that you did not fulfill your end of the contract, that you were blaming your inability to fulfill your end of the contract on some third party. Is that what I heard in the tape? I mean, you know, my hearing's not really acute, but that's what you said. I have no control. I can give you back half your money, but I can't give you back all your money. So the contract was not complete.
It was complete because they supposed to get only 2 snakes.
I didn't see anywhere where it says just 2 snakes. There was a whole bunch of conversation there about the male snake, and you were supposed to deliver to them the male snake. And you said, I don't have that money now, but I can get that money for you. I can give you the first money. I don't have the second money. It was clear that the contract was not complete unless you have something to show me that it was. But what I heard, it was not. That doesn't mean that Ms. Duenas has the right to break your property and to steal property that belongs to you. What they do is they come into a court and say, you have my money. The contract was not fulfilled. I want my money back. That's what you do. Are you in the business of breeding snakes for your store?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if we were to go on the internet now,
Yes, Your Honor.
how much would one of those snakes, which is 6 or 7 years old, according to you, sell for?
Right now, this size, you're looking at it about 6,000 to 7,000 each one.
But if you troll the internet of people who actually like those creatures in their house, for whatever reason, if you put up that snake on the internet for sale, how fast would it take you to sell it?
I still say like about a month and a half.
They're rare.
Yes.
Is that right? That's what you're saying.
It's rare and is just not a lot of people will acquire that much money.
Even though they can sell the babies. And how many babies do they have?
In a year, they can do from 30 to 50.
And each one of the 30 to 50, you can sell for $3,500.
Yes.
I suggest you do that. She gets her $10,000 back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very happy, and I'm happy that she was able to see herself that the defendant got caught multiple lies.
They're just a customer.
He wasn't truthful since the beginning. Ever since we invested.
They bought a snake. I would want to give their snake, but they don't want to take it.
And it's very sad how nowadays you can't trust in anybody.
I think one great lesson that a lot of people can take away from that is you have to know the business that you're investing in. I can appreciate she was sort of doing it for her boyfriend and he had the knowledge about the exotic animals, but that's her money at the end of the day. And if you're going to put your own hard-earned money on the line, it should be a business that you at least put in the time to learn about.
Understand.
Exactly. So that you don't have to rely on somebody else to make the right decisions.
Who's going to be gone tomorrow?
Exactly. Exactly.
And your money
who potentially could, and then you're left on your own, having to sue and navigate a field that you really know nothing about.
Smart. And it was also an example of a contract that was not fully executed.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought when I started the case that there was an offer, an acceptance, you performed, paid the money, got the snakes, and then you can't change your mind. Once you get it, you say, well, I changed my mind. But that's not what happened.
Nope.
And her video demonstrated that that's not what happened because Mr. Chow started to waft. Well, it's not my fault I don't have your mail. It's another guy, and I would give it to you, but I can't give it to you as soon as I get it, you know.
Yeah.
So he did not deliver on the contract. So I had very little compulsion other than to say, you don't have to take the snake and you get your money.
Should be able to spend $3,500 per dog on Frenchies to take up a new breeding hobby, which, as we've seen, is not a hobby. That is a business, a profession that requires an immense amount of specialized knowledge.
Care.
And care.
Especially
and time.
for that breed.
Especially for that breed.
People should really not take on as a side hustle breeding whatever dog there is of the month. It's not fair.
It's not a fad. It's not a
fad. You know, I can't even imagine the living conditions of the 5 dogs that the plaintiff has and the 5 puppies and the 3 that he now has with the new girlfriend. Find another side hustle. Take up crocheting.
Case number 3031, Brandenburg McLaughlin versus Irwin Jr. All parties, please step forward.
Christopher Brandenburg and Victoria McLaughlin are suing their motorcycle buyer, Carter Irwin Jr., for stealing a 2001 Harley-Davidson Heritage.
Mr. Brandenburg, you're suing the defendant for $10,000. I've read your complaint half a dozen times. I still couldn't figure it out. Mr. Irwin, you're counterclaiming for $10,000. I read your answer 1,000 times. I can't figure out what you're suing each other for. The only thing I can manage to put together, this has something to do with motorcycles.
Correct.
And it has something to do with a French bulldog and something called shatter, which I have no idea which it was, except that you wrote in your answer that he took your $7,000 worth of shatter, which is a marijuana extract. Okay, so I'm going to give you each 5 minutes to make your best case so that I understand what your case is about, because it wasn't clear. Go.
Okay, myself and Carter made a deal on a motorcycle. So we made a deal, and he never followed through on...
Okay, so he never followed through on the deal. Do you have that deal in writing?
No, it was all verbal.
And how much was the deal for?
$9,000 for the Harley-Davidson shovel head.
And then what happened?
So I live in Sunnyside, Washington. He lives in Salem, Oregon. So we had traveled back to my place, and he seen the bike, and he decided he liked it and wanted it. So he had no transportation back to his place. So he borrowed my wife's van to travel back. So we had a verbal agreement on that.
Did he, just a second, did he take the bike?
No, he did not take the bike.
Did he ever take the bike?
No, I delivered the bike.
Does he still have possession of the bike?
No.
Where is it now?
It is at my place.
So you have it back?
Yes, I retrieved it.
Okay, next.
When he returned the van a few days later, November 4th, and he had no transportation back, so I let him borrow my 2001 Harley-Davidson Heritage.
Okay, so you have the first bike back, but you don't have the 2001.
Correct. When I went down, I apologize.
Christopher Brandenburg and Victoria McLaughlin claimed their motorcycle buyer, Carter Irwin Jr., stole their Harley-Davidson Heritage. Carter is countersuing, claiming Christopher stole his marijuana and a French bulldog.
Do you have, or did you have, possession of his 2001 Harley?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Do you still have it? No, look, don't look down. Do you still have it?
No, I don't.
Where is it?
It's at a guy's house that I know. It was sold, basically, because I didn't have the paperwork on it like I was supposed to receive. I paid for these motorcycles.
Just a second. You paid the $9,000 for the first one?
I paid in product, Your Honor, with shatter.
You paid in product?
Yeah, with the concentrated marijuana shatter.
No.
Show me. Show me an agreement between the two of you.
It was all verbal, Your Honor.
Show me the agreement between, okay.
It was all verbal.
Fine. Unless I have it in writing, I don't care. Do you have anything in writing to show me that you paid for this motorcycle?
Here's some of the evidence of the jars of shatter that were taken from my house.
No, I don't care about that.
Okay.
I don't care about pictures of it.
Also, I have pictures of him dropping the shovel head off in my house.
Second, would you put them out, please? Please. I don't listen to muttering. Goodbye. Is what you're telling me that you paid for this 2001 Harley, which you have, with a marijuana derivative?
Along with $1,500 cash, Your Honor, yes.
So I want you to show me where you get the $1,500 in cash from.
Well, see, we didn't do receipts. We didn't do a written contract. We didn't have any...
I didn't ask you that. I want you to show me where you got $1,500 in cash from. You have a bank account. You withdrew $1,500 from the bank account. That's all I want to see.
I don't have that with me, Your Honor.
Well, this is the dance, sir. There's not an encore to this dance. There's only one dance.
Text message saying that he was going to pay us $9,000. He was going to transfer it.
May I see it, please?
Sure may.
Okay, easy.
This bottom one right here.
Easy. Yeah, November 2nd, you told him that you were going to transfer $9,000.
Yes, and then that's when I went to Sunnyside and I took shatter with me because I didn't have the money at that time to cover it.
So don't be ridiculous. I don't believe a word you're saying to me.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to talk about the dog. Tell me about the dog. It was an 8.5-month-old, according to what I read, French bulldog.
I'm the one that dealt with the dog stuff. Can I step over?
Who owns the dog?
I do. I have
fine. Then you
paperwork from.
Just a second.
Yeah. Let her.
Transfer over there. Tell me what happened on the 28th of October with this dog.
Carter expressed that he would like a French bulldog
Who's
or a mix.
Carter?
Carter. And so we discussed him being a guardian home. A guardian home is where they keep the dog, they feed it, water it, take care of it. It stays in their home, and then when I'm going to breed it, I get to breed the dog. And then after one breeding, then they own the dog free and clear. So that's what we had agreed on, is that he's supposed to feed and water the dog, the food that has to be of a certain quality. It has to have a backyard. It has to be fenced. They have to own their own home, yada, yada. Anyway, we found out from Carter's sister that he does not own his home, that there is not a fenced yard, and he...
You took the dog back?
We took the dog back.
Just a second. Is it correct, Mr. Irwin, because there's a dispute about you have the dog now?
I have placed the dog in a different home, but yes, I had the dog.
Probably better off without both of you. They have the dog back. For all intents and purposes, whatever she did with this poor creature that is clearly just being used for money, you had possession of for a while, and you had an agreement that you could keep the dog after one litter?
Yeah. I have a full fenced-in backyard.
Just a second. I don't care.
Oh, sorry.
Just answer my question.
Yes.
That was your agreement?
Yep.
Yeah. And when they came to get the motorcycle back, they took the dog back with them?
Yeah.
You have a counterclaim. You want the dog.
Yeah.
You can't have it. The dog is gone now to some other poor home because none of you really have this dog's best interest at heart. As a pet, you're using it to make money. That's it. Okay, so this is my ruling in this very complicated case. They're going to get their motorcycle back. They're going to get that because you're going to tell me in a neutral location and a time and a date when and where they should pick it up. Tell me now.
Let's say the 15th.
15th of this month?
Yeah.
15th. Where should they pick it up?
Anywhere. Anywhere in Salem.
The police station?
Police station.
Yeah,
great. What time of day?
Say by noontime.
Noon. High noon. High noon on the 15th. Motorcycle transfer. The puppy is in another home. This case is over. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
I thought she was firm but fair. I mean, everything he said was fabricated.
Well, I don't agree with it, but it is what it is, and I'll make it right.
That the girlfriend handed the dog over. He never owned the dog. He was supposed to be being a guardian home for it.
Well, they didn't give me an opportunity to. They just came to my house, physically took the dog out of my old lady's hands.
And he wasn't treating the dog how we felt was appropriate.
There isn't a friendship.
Oh, it's done and over. I would suggest that nobody do business with that guy or even, associate with him.
You know I don't care about motorcycles. They'll each get their motorcycles back, and I really don't care. And I certainly don't care about shatter, although I'm glad I learned what the term meant, because you like, at my age, to learn a new thing every day. It keeps you...
Learn something new every day.
What I am so sad about is, every decade or so, there's a popular dog. That everybody's got to have. It's the dog. Mm-hmm. And then people started to breed them as hobby sports. Mm-hmm. And they don't know anything about breeding.
Yeah.
As an animal person, that these little creatures won't have a chance to have any sort of a pleasant, normal life because they're going to be used for breeding and then discarded. It actually outrages me. He was having a fight with his girlfriend. You called the police.
I could hear the entire argument from my unit.
Mind your business.
She didn't say, don't put the knife in my face, don't point the gun at me. They were having a fight.
I have videos of him spitting on my door.
You started harassing him.
But why can't he leave me alone is my question.
He should. Then you should leave him alone.
I agree.
But you started it.
This is Judy Justice. Previously on Judy Justice.
Tell me, sir, when the problem first started with the defendant.
It started for me when a police officer showed up at my house.
When did you start to have a problem with him?
He was using marijuana outside, so he would be smoking outside and they'd be coming into my windows, and my entire unit smelled like marijuana.
After reporting his drug use to the police, comments of "go kill yourself" have been made through my security camera. Now I'll see your video.
You want to tell me to go kill myself? And my camera call me back?
Just a second. Who are those people?
The person with the flannel was my dad, who seconds prior was attacked outside in the parking lot.
I don't know about that or not. How many times had you called the police on him? Because you see, you hadn't had any trouble with him, which is what I'm having a problem wrapping my head around.
And now, the conclusion. Douglas Auerbach is suing his neighbor, Rachel Capron, for lost wages, false charges, attorney fees, and harassment.
Okay. When was your call to the police that he was smoking marijuana?
The first one was May 23rd of 22 is when they're noted in the police report, and I have a copy of that.
And then he cursed you. That's clear. That's in here. Have been made through my security camera. He watches me from his windows when I walk outside.
And me.
I see your mother shaking her head, yes.
Regarding the stalking, I hadn't seen my parents in a while, and they came over to go out to dinner together, and they showed up. I walked outside of my unit to get into my dad's car, and Mr. Auerbach came out and said to my dad, and that's when that last video that you saw was him saying, "Leave my daughter alone."
But the truth is, from his perspective, madam, you had been harassing him. Do you understand that? He had had no trouble living in his apartment from 2006. You move in and you don't like the fact that he's doing something that is not illegal,
It was
but
illegal
is
at the
smelling
time.
up your house. Well, the first time you called was in May of 2022. When did marijuana become legal in your state?
I believe it was November 8th of 23.
It was November 7th, 2023.
Medical became years before that. I have a medical card.
Well, everybody can get a medical card, but that means, but it means you have, but it means you have one. Do you have,
Absolutely.
Did you ever show anyone your medical marijuana card?
No.
Would you like to show it to me?
Sure.
I'd like to see it.
Is it dated?
Yeah, he has a Ohio medical marijuana registry, and it was issued October 2nd, 2021. Would you like to see it?
Thank you.
Just for my information, Mr. Rabak, the defendant has already told me why she called the police the first time, which is about this fight that you had with your then girlfriend. How long had you been with this girlfriend?
3 or 4 years.
Did she live with you?
She did.
Had the police ever been called prior to the defendant moving in?
Never.
And I have to tell you, I'm not necessarily faulting you if you were legitimately concerned over the safety of someone, but it turned out that it was a fight and an overreaction. She was accusing him of doing certain things in a very loud way, and he was fighting with her. And so I'm not going to fault you for being proactive, but you have to understand from his perspective, you were a Badinsky. When you call the police and say, there's a woman and I'm fearful that something is happening to her, and it was a domestic dispute, a shouting match, you can understand from his perspective that was a bit of an overkill.
Right. It was just extremely loud, and the door was left wide open. I could hear the entire argument from my unit. And it went on for a long time.
What you may do is, if you're calling, you can report something as being loud, like playing loud music. They're screaming and we're hearing them. And it looks to me as if there are lots of units there. As far as you know, no one else called the police about this argument, just you. So you can understand from his perspective that that's a form of harassment. And you can understand that from his perspective, since he has a legal marijuana card that was issued a year before, and I'm not going to ask him why, because, you know, you can say you have an ingrown toenail and get a medical marijuana card. But he was not doing anything illegal. And then you say that there were people coming in and out of his unit. Do you have any video of that?
I do not.
No.
That was before I got the Ring camera, before the harassment.
What do you mean? So your concern was, and your reporting was, these are foreigners coming into his apartment And the connotation was that he was a drug dealer.
I saw one.
That was the connotation, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Douglas Auerbach is suing his neighbor, Rachel Capron, for lost wages, false charges, attorney fees, and harassment. Rachel is countersuing, claiming Douglas harassed her, causing emotional distress.
And so what you're telling me, as soon as you got the Ring camera, the people stopped coming? He went out of business?
I didn't see people coming anymore. He hated the camera. And the one person that I saw show up at his house was knocking on his door. His old girlfriend had answered the door, and he was doing this like nodding out motion. And I was scared. I live, like you said, our doors are less than 20 feet apart from one another. And there's this guy outside his front door that is clearly impaired from something. And needing him.
Mind your business.
Shh. Mind you. If I have to go outside and let my dog outside, I should be able to do that without running into these foreign people that are coming to his home, or running into him, cussing me out, calling me every name under the sun. And
Madam, you have to understand, I'm going to tell you, and your mother is nodding and agreeing with you, he did not precipitate this hostility. I know that you feel as if he did, but he didn't. He was having a fight with his girlfriend. You called the police. According to you, he had people coming to his house. You have no proof of that, but they were foreign people. They made you uncomfortable. You called the police. After you called the police at least those 2 times, you wrote to the HOA asking for them to intercede on your behalf to tell him to move his cars out of the front of your building. You felt uncomfortable enough because evidently he's going to tell me that somebody from the pharmacy board came to his house as a result of complaints that you filed, and it could have cost him his license. It ultimately did not, but it could have. And you're telling me that after all of that, you think he should be a pleasant neighbor?
Your Honor,
what is that?
Does she have to live like this?
No, she should probably move closer to you. She should probably move closer to you. He's been living there well over a decade. He had no trouble. And he wasn't doing anything illegal, and he wasn't doing anything that necessitated police intervention, both of which your daughter sought. Do you understand? She didn't know he had a medical marijuana card. And I never fault people if they have a legitimate fear that somebody, man or woman, is being threatened. But what she heard was an argument.
I heard an argument, and I was fearful of what was happening.
Well, that's not his problem. That's your problem that you're fearful. What you actually told me that you heard was this woman with whom he had lived shouting at him that he was a predator and that he made up a false Facebook page. This is his domestic partner, that she evidently found out, according to the argument that you relayed, that he was doing something sub rosa that was sketchy. She didn't say, don't put the knife in my face, don't point the gun at me, stop chasing me. They were having a fight. So you have to understand, from his perspective, you started it, and he reacted by being crude. But despite the fact that your mother thinks you're in the right, you started harassing him for no legal reason. That's from his perspective. You had no legal reason to call the police on him the first 2 times, and I don't know how many times you called the police after that. So I think you're absolutely right. I think you should not have to be in a place where you feel uncomfortable walking out with your dog. He's not moving. He's lived there. And if you find his conduct reprehensible, as your mother does, and as actually I find being cursed at, through whether it's through a Ring camera or in person, I find that distasteful. It's not going to get any better. So you're a young woman. If you're truly unhappy, sell your apartment and move.
I shouldn't have to move because of...
Well, he's not going to have to move.
But why can't he leave me alone is my question.
Just a second. He should leave you alone, and you should leave him alone.
I agree.
But you started it.
I started
it
because
understand?
I was scared. I live by myself, Your Honor.
No. The first time you called the police, you weren't scared. Well, you weren't scared that you smelled marijuana in your apartment, that the windows were open. You came home from work and your apartment smelled for marijuana. You weren't mad. You were annoyed. That started it. You didn't have any trouble with him before. And then the foreign people who were coming to his door, that's a serious allegation. Serious. So do I think he behaved like a gentleman? No. Do I think that you overreacted to situations that caused him to have to hire a lawyer The answer is absolutely yes. And since it's not going to get better, since those things are in stone already, he's already been involved with the police, he's already been involved with the courts, he's already been involved with the board that governs his livelihood because of allegations that you made, and that's not going to go away. Because if he's accused and the underlying allegation with people, as you said, coming to his door and somebody bowing to him, which is the motion that you made, a bowing motion, and if the police contacted or somebody else contacted the governing board that governs his license, that all was precipitated because of you. And I'm not condoning the foul language, the talking into your Ring camera, all of that. But this bad blood exists. It's not going to go away. So why should you have to? You shouldn't have to. Why should he? Because it's not going to stop.
I've looked at moving recently.
Well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Meanwhile, I don't find any of the allegations that you described for the first two reasons to take him to court had any validity. How much did the lawyer cost you?
$3,000, Your Honor.
I saw that in here, his bill for $3,000. I have to tell you, Mr. Auerbach, I haven't really addressed you yet. And you can hear that I have a certain amount of sympathy for your position because the two things that she alleged that you did to cause her to call the police on two occasions before she filed a complaint against you, there was nothing illegal about your behavior.
Correct.
That's according to her. There was nothing illegal about your behavior. So I don't think that you should have to pay a lawyer. I think she should have to pay your lawyer. But I think that what I saw on the camera was a crude reaction. Crude.
And it's every day.
It was
every day.
It was precipitated by you.
Defendant Rachel Capron claims the plaintiff, Douglas Auerbach, has been harassing her for years. Douglas says he's lost thousands of dollars to defend himself from Rachel's false accusations.
Now, it was precipitated by your actions. I'm telling him it's a crude reaction, all of which was precipitated by you for him doing nothing that was illegal or required police intervention. If somebody called the police on me and I wasn't doing anything wrong, and as a result of that, I had to hire a lawyer to defend me, I would be royally annoyed. I wouldn't use that kind of language. I would probably do something more vengeful, but I would do it so that it couldn't be traced back to me. But you and your mother both have to understand, while his reaction was certainly ungentlemanly, crude, and probably continues to be, it was precipitated by your actions.
I have videos of him spitting on my door, hundreds of him spitting on my door. So when
That's
I
a
go
lie.
to walk, it's not a lie. I have it all on video right now.
Stop. I can't tell you that I approve of his crude conduct. I don't. But the first two allegations that you made against him that required him to go to court, it looks like, on at least 7 or 8 occasions, and hire a lawyer.
I have a paper or two.
I don't care. You started it. He had to go to court to defend himself against something that was not illegal. What do you want?
Can I just ask one question, Judge?
Sure. You have to stand up and ask me a question.
My daughter has been changed for 2 years due to the harassment.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're
saying.
saying.
So what's your question? Don't make a statement. What's your question?
Does she have to continue to be treated this way and continue to be prescribed anti-anxiety medication due to the severe harassment that this man causes her every single day?
I think she should move close to you.
Does he have to continue? Can you just tell him to stop?
I can tell him to stop. It's not going to mean anything to him if I tell him to stop. And your daughter has had a hearing. Maybe she has to go back. If she has proof that she wants a protective order, that he's doing something illegal, let her refile, or let her do the smart thing, let her sell her apartment and move. That's what I would advise one of my children. He's not going to move, and as long as they live right opposite each other, there's going to be acrimony. I wouldn't live like that. I really wouldn't live like that, nor would I encourage one of my children to live like that. He's been living there since 2008 or 6. He's not moving. And what precipitated this whole hostility. He probably has a short fuse. He probably is relentless in getting even.
Yes.
You have to acknowledge that your daughter started the trouble.
I understand, but isn't
No,
there a
not
point?
do you understand. Do you understand and agree with it?
I agree, but can't it stop after 2 years?
Well, once the Hatfield and McCoys started to fight, they continued to fight until a lot of people were dead. And it seems to me life has enough challenges so that if you can extricate yourself from a major stressor, you do that. Okay, we're finished. Mr. Raubach, I don't think that you should have had to pay for a lawyer for the first instance that brought you to court. Based upon what she tells me, you were engaged in no illegal conduct at the time she brought you to court, so she's going to pay for your lawyer. I don't have to entertain your counterclaim because that counterclaim is based on the same allegations that were already heard by another court, and the case was dismissed. If you have fresh allegations and want to continue this lunacy, and you have further proof, file for another protective order. Maybe this one will be granted. And I wouldn't live in a situation where I felt uncomfortable. I mean, he's a man, you're a woman, you're younger, you're about the same size. So it's not a David and Goliath situation. But one of you is going to move, and clearly he's not. He's been living there almost 20 years, right? Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I've been living in misery for 2 years. I called the police simply because I was concerned for my safety, and I guess I'll have to continue living with the current circumstances.
I was happy that the judge kind of tore into her and her mother a little bit. Not happy about some of my behavior towards her, being rude, but it's protected free speech, and you know, she's gonna have to deal with it.
Severe anxiety, panic attacks. I'm scared to go outside to let my dog out, scared to let the trash out, take the trash out. It's just anxiety in my own home that I pay for all the time.
Leave me alone. Don't talk to me, ignore me, get on with your life.
I feel like a prisoner in my own home. I'm scared to be in my house when I'm home.
People should just mind their own business.
It is an absolute living hell.
You know, Sarah, I actually feel sorry for the defendant. I wouldn't like to live that way. For whatever reason, she called the police the first time because it was loud. You know, I don't know whether I would call the police. I would close my door and turn up the music a little bit because there was nothing threatening in that conversation. If anything, it sounded like his ex-girlfriend was threatening him. And would I be annoyed if my next-door neighbor was smoking cigars and my apartment reeked from cigar smoke because it crept under? Would I be annoyed? I would be. But if it's not illegal, then it's not worth a phone call.
Yeah, I think people should think twice about the consequences and how long, like we've seen here, those consequences can go on for as a result of involving law enforcement in, you know, petty disputes.
Probably
really be sure when you make that call, you know, that it's
It's
have
not just
everyone's
annoying.
best interests and it's from a good place.
Right.
And I think it was from a good place with her, but I think she was a little nosy Nelly.
And certainly, what she says, she saw foreigners. Just, I don't know what that means.
People are allowed to have whoever they want come and go from their residence.
Your giant leap is that he's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Well, those things would be irritating, certainly if they were not true.
Yeah.
And was he crude, rude in response? He was crude, rude in response.
But he didn't call the police on her for any of her behavior in retaliation.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Anyway, I feel sorry for her, and I really think she should move.
Yeah, I do.
Because he's not moving.
Yep.
Case number 3094, Hilden versus Hilden. All parties, please step forward.
Hunter Hilden is suing his mother, Vicky Hilden, for the value of personal items and online defamation.
Mr. Hilden, this is your mother.
Yes.
And while the case has a lot of nonsense in it, it boils down to the following. You and your mother, according to you, purchased a home together. The house is in both your names. You moved into the house with your mother, and you and your mother came to a period where you were on bad terms. It had to do with your girlfriend.
Correct.
And you say you were forced out of the home. And what you're really requesting is money for the items that you purchased in the house, that you left in the house after you were forced to leave.
Correct.
And Miss Hilden, you have a counterclaim. Counterclaim said that when he left his very large dog. And you either want him to pay for the maintenance of the dog or you want him to turn over the dog to you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's deal with the dog issue first.
Hunter Hilden claims his mother, Vicky Hilden, owes him for personal items. Vicky is countersuing her son for property damage and a German Shepherd.
Now, dog is a German Shepherd?
Correct.
When was it purchased?
I believe about July of this last year.
And when you left the house, you left with your girlfriend.
Correct.
Where did you move to?
Right now, it's kind of still up in the air between my younger sisters and my grandpa's.
Okay, so you can't bring the dog.
Correct.
Mr. Hilden, you let the dog stay with your mother.
I don't have a choice in the matter. I've been
Good.
told
Well, very good.
not.
I'm taking the choice from you so you don't feel as if you're abandoning the dog. So that takes care of the dog. Now let's take care of your appliances. You moved into the house and purchased the house with your mother, month and year.
May of 2022.
And exactly what appliances do you believe that you can establish that you purchased for the house?
Oh, I've got receipts for the kitchen appliances, the washer and dryer.
Washer, dryer, and kitchen appliances. What kitchen appliances?
A refrigerator, microwave, dishwasher, and stove.
Yeah, I see the receipts.
Yes.
Mrs. Hilden, do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I deliver packages.
What kind of work does your son do?
He works at a warehouse forklift.
Now, who purchased those appliances?
I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's see. All these things were financed.
Correct. Under my credit, under my name. Some of which is still being paid on.
Well, who's paying for them?
Me.
Show me proof that you're paying for these items now, since you left in November.
Okay. Am I able to bring my phone out?
Whatever you like. And you're making payments to whom?
To Samsung.
I'd like you to tell me when you bring it up on your phone, what's the balance owing?
Currently only about $500. I've got all my statements pulled up right now.
And you paid off the rest?
Correct.
Kevin, I'd like you to get from Mrs. Hilden her proof that she purchased these items. Nah, you didn't pay cash for all the new appliances, madam, of $8,029.50. I don't know what that's for.
That's the money we took out for appliances.
Took it out from where?
From my checking. We shopped around, and that's when he decided to use Samsung credit, but we still had that cash.
So what did you do with the cash?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Mr. Hilden that.
As far as the $8,600, that was money taken out to blow at the casino.
To blow at the casino,
To gamble.
$8,029?
Yes.
No.
The same month you bought a house?
Yes.
No,
she had gambling issues. I mean, she continues to have gambling issues. Had gone through probably about $100,000 in between then and now. So.
Well, your mother didn't accumulate that delivering packages.
No.
And you work in a warehouse. Where did you get $100,000?
That was where. That's what she won at the casino. But she also put it back where she won it at.
I want to know what the $8,029.50 was.
I'm not
I'm
understanding.
not buying this, taking out cash to buy
Ma'am,
appliances.
when I put money down on the home, and I was putting money down as an investment when I did win at the casino, that was put aside, and it's an odd amount. That's because we were shopping around. We took cash directly out to shop around, but he ended up buying a bundle from the Samsung website, and he ended up applying for a Samsung credit card. So that money that was originally to go to the appliances, I don't know where it went because he had applied for credit. We were getting the appliances through delivery a little at a
so
time.
what you're telling me is you cashed this check and...
It's a withdrawal slip, ma'am.
No, I'm not buying any of this stuff here for cash. That's not happening. How much do you earn at your job?
About $20 an hour.
Okay. Kevin, can I see his phone, please?
It'll be under overview or statements or down that way.
So there's $500 left. And the appliances are in the home?
The refrigerator, yes. The microwave, yes. The stove, we never hooked up the stove.
Why?
We work a lot, so I don't cook like that. We just never hooked up the stove yet. I cook on a fryer, a skillet. We have not hooked up the actual stove yet. And as far as...
Washer, dryer?
Yes, washer and dryer.
So you use those things?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your intention, Mr. Hilden? What do you think is going to happen with the joint ownership in this house?
I was hoping to put it up for a forced sale and just cut ties completely.
Well, that's far beyond my pay grade. Okay. So you have $556 left on these items, and I think that it's more than fair that your mother, if she's enjoying them and in the house, that she take care of the rest of that bill.
Ma'am, I have to show that I paid for the washer and dryer.
Yes, sir. $2,200 transfer from Vicki Hilden to Hunter. What was that for, Mr. Hilden?
It was for the washer and dryer, yes.
So what's left is, for the other items, $556 owing to Samsung. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Very easy. You're going to take care of your Samsung bill, continue to use that, and I would suggest that you hook up the stove. And on the claim, I'm awarding the plaintiff $556. On the counterclaim, you have the dog. Thank you very much. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
Just because I've been done dirty so long, and I just thought finally something would come about of it.
I do gamble, but I don't have a problem with it.
I don't think I'll have enough time for the childhood traumas.
My door's closed.
No, he's dead to me.
What I found fascinating was that he has a job where he makes $20 an hour. His mother delivers packages. Can't be high-income family. And they purchased this house, and they put down a substantial down payment.
Yeah.
Where did you get the $100,000 from? She must be a terrific gambler.
Yeah, she must be.
Her bank account shows that she transferred thousands of dollars
Oh,
to
yeah.
him. It's fascinating.
Almost $10,000 transferred to him
Fascinating.
that we saw.
If I win $20 in the slot machines, I'm over the moon. $100,000, she must be pretty good.
Not half bad.
Yeah.
Jennifer Murphy is suing her car renter, Lindsay Beard, for missed payments and damage to her vehicle.
Miss Murphy, several years ago, you were planning to go out of the country. When were you planning to go out of the country?
December 2018.
And you had a car at the time, a car that you were making payments on?
Yes.
That had a loan on it?
Yes.
And what were the loan payments every month?
There were $375.68.
And what year car was it?
It's a 2013.
So it's 11 years old now. Mm-hmm. And in 2018, you made an arrangement with the defendant, who you knew how?
My sister's client.
She needed a car. You were introduced. You made an arrangement with her in 2018 to rent your car that you both acknowledge for $375.68 a month?
$374.68, and it was in 2020.
It was in 2020?
Yeah, the date was January 5th, 2020.
Is that the date you made the arrangement?
Yes.
And is there a contract for the
There
lease
is,
of this
right
car?
here.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
Here you go. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so let's read the terms of this agreement. First one is payment of $374.68 via Zelle. Now, with regard to that provision of the lease agreement, you returned the car on what date?
I picked it up on October 24th.
2023. Mm-hmm. So she had the car 2.5 years.
More like 3.5 years.
And in those 3.5 years, you were out of the country.
Yes.
Part of your claim here is that she failed to make several payments.
Mm-hmm.
She says she has all the payments.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone over the payments with each other so that you can check your accounts?
No, I mean, I have my printed Zelle from my bank, and she has a spreadsheet that she was filling out each month that she received a payment.
You have that?
I do, yes.
Yes. And you acknowledge that?
That I had sent her the spreadsheet each month. I also have the emails of the Zelle payments, and I am missing the 8 payments from her, so I'm curious She never explained that.
I'm not curious. You're going to go outside with my clerk, and you're going to go through these. You don't expect me to go through 3.5 years of car payments, do you? Now, if you don't want to waste my time, we can acknowledge that they were either paid or we can move on to the next action. What's your pleasure?
I don't believe they were paid.
Okay. Sarah, go deal with them. Math is not my strong suit, and this kind of nonsense is not worth my time. Go figure out if there were any missed payments that they can prove, will you please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jennifer Murphy claims defendant Lindsay Beard rented her car for years and damaged the vehicle.
Sarah?
Okay, so there was a total of 11 missed payments that the defendant had no proof that she had paid. However, there were months that the plaintiff admitted where she paid more or double to make up for missing months, which she credited in the spreadsheet that I looked at. So there were a total of 8 missed payments, not including those, makeup payments that she had made.
Did you total that?
I did, totaling to $2,997.44.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm reading the lease, so that was the first thing. So on that, you owe $29.97. Lessee will not drive more than 2,000 miles per month. There's no problem indicated in your petition about that, so that she's complied with the terms of this lease. Will keep up with all regular maintenance of the vehicle. You have any proof that she didn't do that?
Well, beside my car, when I got it back, it was not in a very good condition.
You left it 3.5 years. The car's 11 years old. She had to have changed the oil periodically if she had it 3.5 years. The fact that your car is now older and it was driven by somebody else 3.5 years, there's a certain amount of wear and tear on a car, and things break down unless you have a mechanic who's going to tell me that you did something to the car, which are you a mechanic?
No.
No.
I also have all the records of me going and doing that.
Not necessary. So. It's her burden of proof.
Absolutely.
It's good that you have the paperwork as a defense that you took care of the car. Will carry full insurance coverage. Did you do that? There's no allegation that you did not. Will not allow other persons to drive the car. There's not an allegation in here that she did and let other people use the car. Violation of this cause for immediate termination. And that's it. So far, I have $2,997. Now, she returned the car because she came back to the country. Okay. On what date did she return the car?
I picked it up on October 24th, 2023.
And where did you go with the car?
Immediately, I went back to my
house. To your residence?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you take the car out again on October 24th?
No.
When was the next time you took it someplace?
On October 26th, I took it to the dealership.
Why?
To have it inspected.
Just a second.
Okay.
My question is, why did you take it to the dealership? Because if you drove it home and there was something wrong with it, you would have taken it immediately to the dealership if you found something wrong with it. You didn't take it to the dealership the 24th. You didn't take it to the dealership on the 25th. Why did you take it on the 26th? Just to check it out?
No, I did notice things immediately wrong with it.
What?
For one, the AC wasn't working. The car wasn't locking.
What does that mean, the car wasn't locking?
When I used the fob, it wouldn't lock. It was doing nothing.
It was doing nothing. But you were driving with it. It was just that electrical thing that wouldn't open and close. Did you put a new battery in the fob?
No.
No. That's the first thing I do. When it doesn't open, it doesn't close, these things go, you take it in, costs $5, you put in a new battery and you close it and then it locks. It's not as if the car didn't work. Okay. What else?
The door sensors weren't working as well.
I don't know what that means, the door sensors.
It looks like my car door is always open on the electrical component. So there's just a lot of weird electrical things going on with it.
You have any proof to demonstrate to me that she caused any of this problem?
So I found out she had a DUI while she was using my car, and she lied to my sister about it, telling her that I knew about it, that she had told me about it, but I had no idea.
But she didn't keep it a secret. She told your sister.
She did tell my sister.
And that's how you met her?
Yes.
So if she told your sister, she wasn't keeping it a secret from you?
Well, she didn't tell me either.
I don't care. But she wasn't keeping it a secret. She told the person who actually brought the deal together.
Well, she lied to my sister also.
Just a second.
Okay.
I'm asking you a question. Proof that this electrical wonking was her fault.
Well, I had seen in the court documents on her DUI that she was ordered to install an IID, an ignition interlock device, which she did on my vehicle, had it installed and uninstalled. And in that, you have to cut the wiring to...
I don't know if you have to... What kind of work do you do?
I'm a yoga instructor.
Well, unless you're a car mechanic, you're not going to testify as to what they have to do when they install a piece of equipment. By the way, just tell me what month and year you had a DUI.
It was February or March of 2020.
But you had the car for 3 years after that.
I did, yes.
Listen to me. Yeah. 3 years after that. And she is correct that you had to have a machine installed.
I had to have the interlock, yes.
Okay. That if you breathe into something, if your breath smelled from alcohol, the engine wouldn't start.
Yes, it's connected to the battery.
Okay. And you did have that installed. How long was that in the car?
Almost the entire time I had the car.
After
getting arrested. So about a month later after me getting the car, I had to have the installation put in.
Okay. And when did you have it taken out?
Actually, 3 or 4 days before she picked the car up.
Okay. And who took it out for you?
The same company that put it in.
Okay, fine. I'm just telling you that, Miss Murphy, because if you think that you can prove a case of negligence against a company, it's not her. She neither put it in or took it out. Got it? She owes you $2,997. And she owes you that for the missed payments that she can't prove she made, that you say on your spreadsheet she missed, and that Sarah confirmed. Anything else? No. Good. Thank you very much. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Currently, my car's dead. It's not operating because of the electrical damage.
There is no damage to the car.
I do think it's the wiring, and I know it hooks up to the starter because we've been researching it. She's saying the battery, but it's the starter. And it did render it inoperable.
I mean, I watched the guy do it. They go in through the panel, they connect it to the battery, and it's done in 30 minutes.
My car is my car. No one's going to be borrowing it.
I'm just glad it's done.
Really trying to keep me on my toes there. I know math is not your strong suit, but you also passed that gene down to me, so I find it interesting that you just farm out all the math skills over here.
Well, first of all, you're the clerk. I'm the judge.
Yeah, I don't mind doing it. I'll do it all day long, all day long.
And you figured it out.
I did. No,
it was probably taken me a lot longer.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, you don't have it here, you don't have it. It doesn't exist, so made it easy.
You, sir, you had a big fight because you weren't paying rent.
She got crazy, punched me in the face, and I fell in the chair into the glass. She started picking up the glass and stabbing me with it.
That's not true.
He has pictures, bleeding.
I was trying to grab the chair.
Before or after you stabbed him with the glass?
The chair actually collided with the mirror, and the mirror broke.
I don't believe a word of that.
This is Judy Justice. DeAndre Benton is suing his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, for personal belongings, lost wages, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3119, Benton versus Rayford.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Benton, it is your claim that the defendant who rented a room in her home to you
Yes, ma'am.
assaulted you, disposed of your property,
Correct.
and because of all the turmoil, you missed time at work.
Yes, ma'am.
You want $7,500.
Yes.
That's what you're asking for. Defendant says that you assaulted her. She had lost wages. She had pain and suffering as a result of this assault, which I assume took place on the same day.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. How did you find the room in Miss Rayford's home?
It was on a roommate app, like Roomster, to be exact.
On what date did you find the ad?
June 15th.
And where was it located?
Atlanta, Georgia, 30311.
So that was in June. And you looked at the room?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the rent?
It was negotiated to be $750.
$750 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing then?
I was working fast food at the moment.
When did you move in?
July 15th.
July 15th.
15th, yes, ma'am.
And how much rent did you pay for the month of July?
This full amount, $750. I paid $250 to hold the room and $509 for the remaining balance.
In the month of August, tell me what rent you paid her and when.
I did give her.
Look at me. Be very careful with me. I want you to be very careful with me. How much rent did you give her in the month of August?
I didn't give her anything.
How much rent did you give her in September?
She wasn't there.
How much rent did you pay anyone in September?
I paid her a portion of the rent.
What do you mean a portion of the rent? It was my understanding that you owned this home.
Yes,
No,
Your
she
Honor,
didn't
that
own
is
the
correct.
home.
Just a second.
She didn't own the home. To my knowledge, she wasn't even supposed to be renting out the home to have rooms.
Just a second. I'm just asking you, you're now living in somebody's house,
Mm-hmm.
and you agreed to pay $750 a month rent.
Mm-hmm.
Is a yes.
Yes.
And you paid no rent
Well, that
for
was
the month of August.
That was because when I did come into the home on the 31st, I moved in on the 15th like I communicated to you. On the 30th, my belongings was outside the home. I had to sleep outside like an animal.
Okay. What about in September? You were still in the home in September.
Yeah, I was still in the home in September
She
going
was
through the
still
same
in?
issue.
Just a second. You were still, you're not going to talk over me. You were still in the home in September.
Mm-hmm.
Not That's a yes.
Yes.
You were still in the home in September. And how much rent did you pay in September?
I paid her $500 in
Just a second. In September, you paid her $500.
Yes.
Okay. October.
Nothing was paid.
After that, you paid no rent.
No.
Okay. Where are you living now?
I live with a friend now.
That's a lie. That's a lie. We just checked.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I used
Well, just
to
a second.
before I moved.
Just a second. Stupid is not here, sir.
Pretty aware.
Stupid is not here. So now you're a squatter in a place where you're paying no rent and you live with him?
No, ma'am. I have my own place.
Oh, good. Because he doesn't live with you. He's living in a place where he doesn't pay rent. He moved in and stopped paying. I'm not finished with you either. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Very good. So
But
if you understand,
there's
you
two
weren't
factors.
living outside like an animal, and you've been living for August, September, October, November, December, January, and February, 7 months in a place in which you pay no rent.
Well, can I ask a question? How am I supposed to pay rent when I had several eviction notices and she wasn't there to show up?
Then leave. Then leave.
I mean,
you're a
you say
squatter.
leave, but
You are a squatter.
she told me I didn't
You're
have
a
to.
squatter. Well, if she told you that you don't have to, then the two of you are in collusion here.
I'm not talking about
Yeah.
that, ma'am.
Who told you you didn't have to pay?
The judge, because I didn't say the judge didn't say I had to pay. The judge said I did not have to leave, that she didn't find a reason to eviction of me because she didn't show up and provide her evidence.
I'm just telling you, you're a squatter. You don't pay rent. Everybody else here pays a mortgage, pays a maintenance. You moved in and you became a squatter. And I don't care what some other nitwit said to you, you're a squatter. So you get zero for the rent, for your property. I'll get to the assault in a minute. I read your answer. When did you purchase the house?
June 3rd,
June of what?
2021.
What was your mortgage?
The first year, from June when I moved in 2021, it was $1,575 a month.
For the mortgage?
Correct. June of 2022, it increased by $40 and went to $1,615.
In what month did you stop paying the mortgage?
September of 2023.
Why?
DeAndre Benton claims his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, threw away his property and assaulted him. Chauncey is countersuing for property damage and says she was the one assaulted.
Now, in what month did you stop paying the mortgage?
Well, to be completely honest with you,
Yeah, I don't want you to be dishonest with me. You have to be honest with me because I know everything.
Yes, ma'am. I got laid off. I was okay, just living off of savings for a few months. Things got hard.
Just a second, you got laid off from what job, where?
Carvana, and this was November of 2022.
All right, so you've already been laid off for a year, and you're telling me you paid your mortgage until September?
Yes, ma'am. I was doing anything I could from an app called InstaWork.
Okay, so then you stopped paying your mortgage in September?
Yes.
And when did they foreclose on your house?
October 23rd was the date that I was told that myself and DeAndre needed to be out of
And I just asked you a question. They foreclosed on the house in October.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I had to move back with my mother in the state of Missouri. I lost everything. My job, the home, my dog.
Okay, so now the bank owns the house.
Yes, correct.
And he's been squatting in the
there.
house since October.
Yes, he will not leave.
Get out of here. Now, I've listened to what you just said just about the ownership of the house and when she turned it back to the bank. You said in your brief questioning before that she didn't own the house. She was a renter.
You know, I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, and she knew that. I wasn't even aware of that.
That's not true. Just a second. If she owns the house, you can be there.
She doesn't own the house.
She doesn't own it anymore.
She never did.
Well, show me proof of that. Okay, that I'd like to see. Were you renting with an option to buy?
Yes, ma'am, with the option.
Oh, I got it now. He's absolutely right. You were not the owner of the house. You were a renter, and you had an option to buy.
Correct. And I was going to do so.
Judge, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. You two people actually deserve each other. Because what you suggest in your papers is that you ran into hard times and you let the bank take the house. Well, you didn't let the bank do anything because you didn't own the house. You were a renter and you stopped paying rent. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, you both deserve each other. I don't know who you're not paying rent to. Somebody owns this house. And they've been probably trying to get you out of the house for a very, very long time.
The person that owned the home came to the home and said she was already far behind before I even moved in. That's the whole reason why
Who cares? What are you doing in a place where you're not paying rent? You're not supposed to be there. You're a squatter.
Do I look like a squatter?
You are one. You live in a place that's not yours. You're not paying rent. You're a squatter.
Yeah, for people that don't try to pay rent. At least I was trying to pay the rent.
Listen,
other time
I try to make a baby every once in a while, but I'm 81 years old. It doesn't happen. All right, I want to hear something about this assault that happened when you were both living in this place that belonged to somebody else, and neither one of you was paying rent.
She was paying.
Who are you?
I'm her witness.
Were you there when this assault
Yes,
took place?
I was.
Okay, then I'll hear you after I hear them. Now, what is the date of this alleged assault?
10th.
October 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were still living there, not paying rent as of September and October. She was still living there.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened.
So I came outside out of my room. She was already being aggressive about the non-paying rent. And I've already been trying to be communicative with her.
Not
I
true.
said, hey.
I don't want to hear you.
I'm not speaking, Your Honor.
Who is?
Me. I'm sorry.
Out.
Okay.
Then you're done. That way. Out.
Lord.
Go ahead.
Basically,
Now, I don't want to hear basically. I want to hear, to the best of your recollection, on October 10th, 2023, you were both in the house. You were in your room.
She got crazy. Basically, long story short, she got crazy. I tried to come inside the house and sit in a chair. The lady pulled the chair from me. I have the pictures and everything of it. Pulled the chair from me.
Which lady?
This one right here.
Pulled the chair out from under you, tried to sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
Pulled the chair out from me, punched me in the face, and I fell in the chair into the glass. She started picking up the glass and stabbing me with it.
And?
And I had to call the ambulance. The police came. It took 45 minutes.
May I see the police report, please? Did you ever speak to the police, Miss Rayford?
That day?
That day?
No, ma'am. I ended up leaving because...
Okay, just a second. Don't tell me because. The police have memorialized what they saw on the 10th, and they saw him with multiple wounds on his body. Some were bandaged and some not. You were not in the house. This person, I assume, is your girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay. So the two of you were in the house. After this incident took place, whatever the incident was, the two of you left.
That's correct.
He called the police.
I'm not sure what he did.
You didn't call the police.
No, I did not.
No. Now, so from you, I would like to see... When you left the house, ran out of the house with your girlfriend, I assume you went right to an emergency room or something as a result of the lacerations that you say you sustained as a result of this fight. So I'd like to see those records.
I did not go to seek emergency treatment because I didn't have any insurance. I just bandaged it up myself.
Well, where did you run to?
To go and get bandage.
And when did you come back to the house?
I did not. That was my last day.
So that was your last day. Okay.
That's a lot.
So now,
She did.
I
come
would
back
only
to the
return
house.
when he was not there to collect my things.
Oh, so you did. Just a second. So you did go back. I have a feeling I was right.
He would not be there when I would return. I have text messages of me asking my neighbor to let me know when he's not there as well. I have photos.
I'm going to look at both your photos, and then you're going to tell me your version of what happened.
Yes.
Because there's no question that he was injured, because the police memorialized that. I assume he has photographs as well. Now, I want you to tell me your version of what happened.
I was working from home. He was already up that morning, and he was the one being loud. He was sitting at my workstation. I kept asking him politely to move so that I can go ahead and start working. He refused to move. He told me he had a right to sit wherever he wanted to in the home. Now, mind you, he's never...
Just a second. Did you pull the chair out from under him?
DeAndre Benton has accused his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, of throwing away his belongings and assaulting him. Chauncey is countersuing, claiming DeAndre damaged property and assaulted her.
Okay. Did you pull the chair out from under him?
No, he was not sitting at it at that time. I was trying to move myself. He had walked outside the front door, and as he did that, I was trying to grab the chair, and he ran towards it and sat in it. And that's when the chair actually collided with the mirror, and the mirror broke at that point.
And then?
And then he proceeded to pick up pieces of glass, and I have the photos of my injury right here.
That's a lie.
I don't want to hear you.
He also damaged my work equipment. I had just started that job July 17th. Lost my job on Friday, October 13th, because he damaged my computer. I have a police report that I filed because...
I'd like to see it.
When I did return to the home, after, stitching myself up.
You didn't stitch yourself up.
I did go and get bandages.
You didn't stitch yourself up.
Well, okay. The wrong verbiage.
Yeah.
This is what I submitted
Just
online.
a second. I asked you for your police report.
Yes.
Period.
Okay.
Show it to me.
It's right here. This is what I have filed online. After communicating with my job, they told me in order for them to...
This is on the 12th. You say this happened on the 9th.
It did happen on the 9th, Your Honor. And what I did was I was in communication with my employer to see what they felt was best because...
What does she do for a living?
She was a shift manager.
She still work?
Yes, she works.
Well, why wasn't she paying rent?
We don't live together. She had her own place.
Interesting. Okay, you wanted to say something to me?
Yes, that's actually a lie. As far as me assaulting her, I never once touched this lady. I never once disrespected her. I never once raised a hand at her or tried to, physically harm her. She was very aggressive, very disrespectful.
That's not true.
Okay, can I see photographs, please? Can I see her photographs, please?
Marvius was also injured. That's my arm and her toe.
These are the injuries that you're showing me?
The toe photo is Marvius, my partner, and the arm, that's me.
Don't buy the photos, madam.
I have the scar right here.
Yeah, and don't buy that photo. This photo is a result of this date.
No, it all happened the same day that we're referring to.
Why are you showing me a picture of her toe?
Because when the glass broke and it was flying, somehow her toe got cut.
That's not true.
That is what happened.
Just a second. What other evidence do you have to show me with regard to this injury that took place on that date?
That was mainly what I took. The police told me to take pictures of it because they already had her on file from a previous incident of putting her hands on me.
If she put her hands on you before, why didn't you move?
Shh. Sense.
Shh. There's an indication here that there was listen to me.
But
if she
that's
put her...
That's the only place that I could afford at the moment.
But you weren't paying anything. You weren't working. You weren't doing nothing.
I'm done. You're finished. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim's dismissed. You, sir, you had a big fight with her because you moved in and you weren't paying rent. You hadn't paid rent since July. So if she's annoyed with you, there's absolutely no basis for her to put her hands on anybody. But you got into a scuffle that day. Did you damage her computer?
No, sir, I didn't.
I believe that you didn't damage her computer.
I didn't.
Shh, listen to me. I believe that the computer may have gotten damaged during the course of this fight where you and your girlfriend were there, right? Just a second. You and your girlfriend were there. See, I have a big problem with you because I know that he's a squatter. But you led me to believe that you had to give this house back to the bank as a result of his not paying rent. That's what you led me to believe in your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And that was not true. When somebody tells me something that's not true, I find their testimony always a little suspect. Do you understand? He was injured. There's no question he was injured with shards of glass. Police saw the injury, and he has pictures bleeding on that date. That's a result of what happened that you did to him. And you may have been angry. Was your friend angry as well? Because you both ran off.
This is what happened, okay?
Sure, I'd like to hear you try to tell me what happened.
The laptop was not damaged due to the scuffle. It was he was already banging on it, and then he poured Pepsi on it. I had to.
Did he pour Pepsi on the computer before or after you stabbed him with the glass?
No, this is before.
I don't believe a word of that.
Ma'am, this is the truth. And I literally walked outside so that I could get some help.
Yeah.
I had to call my girlfriend, and at that time,
no, you don't call your girlfriend. You call the police.
Every time that the police have been called, they have not helped me.
Your girlfriend's not going to help you. You're trying to talk over me. Your girlfriend's not going to help you.
I had no family in Atlanta.
On the day of the incident, the police were wondering, like, where was she so they can get...
Don't tell me what the police were wondering, sir. You haven't paid rent in a place for 7 months. Are you still working fast food?
Yeah, I'm working now.
Did you tell me initially when I asked you a question, and we can have Whitney read it back, when I asked you where you were living, you said you were living with a friend.
Yeah, because I
Just a second. You were living with a friend, but that's not true because when we tried to contact you, the contract address that you gave us was, that's how I knew you lived there and that you weren't telling me the truth. Do you understand?
Yeah, I said I recently moved from the...
No, you didn't say that.
I recently have moved from that location, from that home.
Goodbye. Your case is dismissed. So's yours. Goodbye. You deserve each other.
This court is adjourned.
I wasn't squatting.
He only paid to move in, and I didn't get anything after that month of July.
Well, how am I supposed to pay rent if I was told I could be there?
Because that's what Gen Z babies do.
Squatters tend to have more rights than the landlords, it seems, these days. I mean, he moved in, he paid one payment to move in and hold the spot, and never paid again after that. And like you said, has been there for 7 months. She was not honest about, you know, in the papers it was a little bit unclear, or actually it was very clear, just inaccurate, that the reason that she had to leave this place was solely due to him not paying rent. She made it seem like she had to give it over to the bank due to some lack of payment.
Because she lost her job and...
Exactly. So a lot about the lost job, a lot about all of this, but I mean, I just wonder who's paying utilities on the house now. He's been living there for 7 months. It's owned by the bank now, I believe.
I think it's owned by the bank.
And I don't think they're paying for his water and heating. So I wonder
somebody's
what's going
paying
on.
for them.
Someone.